Donovan, how was your night last night? I know you had a fantastic time.
It was probably the best night that I've had in a long time.
Top 5 night of my life.
It was amazing. It was a top 5 hate watch that I've ever had yesterday. Isaac, how was your night? You want to talk to us? What'd you get into?
I heard it was splendid.
Yeah, because listen, I was just at the crib chilling, right? I was just,
I damn near threw
dinner.
some on the grill, bro,
Yeah.
from what I seen from Rudy Gobert last night.
I went out to eat, had some Indian food real quick, What'd you do yesterday?
Chilling.
I searched within. Looked for answers.
What's
I
going
didn't
on?
find any.
Oh.
Just a endless depth of despair and longing for meaning in life, for something to fill this void left inside of me. I don't have any answers.
You see what Rudy Gobert can do to a man?
I've never, ever seen Rudy act like that. That's because your Los Angeles Lakers got bounced out. Clap it up. Ladies and gentlemen, the Los Angeles Lakers are officially out of here. JJ Redick is at home. LeBron James is at home. Luka Doncic is at home. Austin Reeves at home. And it was because, listen, Rudy Gobert had himself a legacy game in the elimination spot. Nearly a 30-20. Put him out of the playoffs. Please. How are you feeling?
Explain yourself. Mr. Second best team in the fucking West. Explain. I said that too.
Matt saying like he didn't pick the Lakers to win. Yeah, but we're going to talk about that. We're going to talk about the Lakers losing. We're going to talk about the Bucks' future, the Pacers winning, obviously the Timberwolves winning. We're going to talk about every single NBA team in the playoffs right now, including the Lakers. We'll open with them. We're going to do this by talking about one thing we've learned about every single NBA team in the playoffs so far. Yeah, man. Let's play the intro music. We'll talk about this goddamn team.
The cranium is crazy. Oh my god.
I mean, I really don't know what to say.
Crayon eaters rejoice.
All right, y'all want me to go first or you want to go first? You want to get it out your system? What did you learn about the Lakers, Donovan?
I learned that theory can only take you so far.
Yeah.
That the idea of the Lakers and everything that we've talked about for the last 3 months or however long it's been since the Luka trade, all of that has felt better than what the Lakers actually were.
Yeah, so what I learned from this series is fandom is a fucking disease. And I allow myself to believe the hype because I was excited. Obviously, I'm a Lakers fan. How could I not choose to believe they're going to win at least one series? But what we learned about this Lakers team is their strengths don't outweigh their weaknesses. I tweeted this. It's quite funny. I spent the last month on the show telling you guys the Lakers offense is overrated. And I spent the last 18 months before the Luka trade telling you I hate Jackson Hayes and that I think he sucks and he shouldn't be on my team and that he's a bad guy and I really wish I didn't have to root for him. I said that. I said both those things. I commonly talk a lot about how teams are who their net rating says they are. I commonly say the Thunder are going to win the finals because they have one of the best net ratings of all time. And in the modern NBA, that matters more than anything else these days. How good you want both ends of the court is very measurable in the age in which basketball has been so optimized, right? I said all these things. And yet I still ignored all the signs and allowed myself to believe that the Lakers would win with the overrated offense that was never once elite post-Luka trade, being anchored by a good defense that was built upon a pillar of bullshit based on Jackson Hayes rim defense and small ball that worked in the regular season but did not come to fruition in the playoffs. All the warning signs are there. When we did our preview episode, I acknowledged all the ways in which the Timberwolves scared me, why they could win, but I was like, yeah, this could happen, but it won't. Turns out it did. Turns out every swing factor that could have happened did happen for the Timberwolves. They beat them on the boards. They beat them in the rebounding, the second chance points. They beat them in transition. They had better shooting, better finishing, better everything because the Lakers were simply overmatched, right? We talked about this in our last stream. We really did a lot of this talk on Tuesday when they were down 3-1. I kind of did my whole spiel about why I think it happened. But for those who didn't see, we're going to talk a lot about every single aspect of this team. The coaching, the star players, the shooting, the role players, everything. It really, really boils down to in the regular season in which they were good, winning on the strength of a good defense, they were getting 25 minutes a game of weirdly competent Jackson Hayes defense. He was straight up good.
Yeah.
It looked like Luka Doncic had made another center change his broke ass life. It looked like we'd seen that again. It looked like we had seen Luka Doncic fix a bad center once again, like he always does. We always say Luka makes any center work. It seemed like it did happen with Jackson Hayes. The defense was good off of about 25 minutes a game of small ball and about 20 minutes a game of Jackson Hayes being the necessary threat as a roll man and being the necessary rim protection to make everything work, right? Quickly, it was shown in game one that you can't play Jackson Hayes. Jackson Hayes played 3 minutes a game. Everything that worked with the small ball and how I felt the small ball would do a good job of neutralizing Rudy Gobert's impact as a scorer, that all worked in the first couple games. That was going well. You can't do that for a full series. You're going to get so tired. Everybody's going to be gassed. Austin Reeves looked terrible because he had to play a lot of defense, fighting for his life. Everybody looked worse on offense because they had to fight for their life, spending all their energy on defense because they had to play 48 minutes a game of small ball. That is outlandish. Every single thing comes back to the fact that the house of cards collapses when you literally can't play more than 4 minutes a game of a center. If I knew Jackson Hayes could only play 3 minutes a game, I wouldn't have fucking picked him. End of the day, there's a lot of things that went wrong. That's the swing factor, is I stupidly let myself believe Jackson Hayes would be a playoff factor. And for that, I'll never forgive anybody involved in this team for convincing me that that Jackson Hayes mattered.
Certified Laker boy, certified dumbass. That's what you are. But I'm right with you.
You picked the same thing.
Again, listen,
Mind you, I was the most conservative up here about my approach to the series. I was the most respectful of the Timberwolves.
it doesn't matter. And people were telling me last night, they're like, Don, you picked the Lakers too. Either I was right or we get a successful hate watch. I'm winning either way, right? Like, understand that. Yeah. And the only other people who thought that Jackson Hayes could be a factor were the producers on TNT. Because every single time Rudy Gobert scored, pan right over to Jackson Hayes on the bench.
Yeah.
That was one of the funniest just recurring bits of the night. I loved it. But it was very clear early on, like, just how hard the Lakers had to work for everything. And there was a moment where I thought that they might win the game. You know, they took the lead in the fourth quarter or even like late third, and Luka had hit a fadeaway shot, and I was like, okay, like, it looks like he's about to turn around, do the Luka thing, and it just never got there. And every single time that they had a momentum shifting three, Minnesota would come right back down, hit a three, keep the lead at like 5 or 6, keep them at bay. And you just saw over and over, if Luka was not going to hit a crazy step back three, or if LeBron's three wasn't going to fall, then it just wasn't going to work, because they got some help. Like, Rui had a game last night. Rui was shooting the ball really, really well, and they just weren't able to really overcome his, like, all the offensive deficiencies that they had. And then, like you said, Austin Reeves and really everybody had to play so much defense because Luka Doncic looked awful on defense again last night. And so that's another thing where, like, if you're playing 4-on-5, because one, he was also hurt, like the back spasm, like he had a weird fall. And after that, it was really, really just like food, where anybody could go at Luka and get by him. And so if you're playing that kind of defense without a rim protector, you're gonna get.
I think the only thing
they're gonna get beat.
Lakers need to be slandered up and down the roster. The only thing that I think this will happen because it's nature of the sport. The only thing that I think is unfair is the Luka slander to some extent. Yeah, he is not a good defender. He's going to look way fucking worse with literally no rim protector behind him. When your backline defense is Rui Hachimura and Dorian Finney-Smith, you're damn right he's going to look like shit. The way the Mavs were able to make him look decent is by funneling him to a big and having him smartly rotate out from that. They can't do anything of that sort schematically with this roster. So he was always going to look terrible. Austin Reeves was always going to look terrible, because that's super amplified by the fact they had to play 5 hard-fought games of small ball. By the end, their legs are dead, and there's just no hope for survival with literally 0 bigs. So I guess I'll let you go. Yeah. If we're boiling it down to one thing we actually learned to distill to this, is that they are who people thought they were after the trade. They don't have bigs, and that came to fruition. They're an incomplete team that simply does not have the bare minimum interior force to be competent. Every strength we thought they'd have just whittles down to nothing when they don't have the necessary big men to be a regular competitive basketball team.
Yeah, I agree. At the end of the day, all it comes down to is advantages in the playoffs. And this showed that, they just simply don't have enough. Like you said, once the trade happened, everyone's like, oh my God, like, wide picture, bigger picture here. They're going to be great over the next 5, 6, 7, 8, 10 years or whatsoever. But then, like you said earlier in the week, TD3 Tuesdays, 6 p.m. Eastern time, pull up. What are you doing? You said that the viewership, when it comes to perspective of the Los Angeles Lakers, it started to change simply because of had the little run, I think it was like a 15-20 game run where they showed and were able to formulate a elite defense completely out of nowhere.
Yeah.
And Jackson Hayes was doing all the things that you were saying. But in the playoffs, obviously, that's where everything gets exposed and teams start to beat the fuck and poke at your weaknesses. And of course, like you said, the center spot is the biggest one for the Lakers. This is I don't want to say the worst possible matchup for the Lakers, but I will say in terms of their biggest strength and what we all picked and lean towards at the end of the day, like damn near everyone else was, they got the two smartest players on the basketball court. And alongside like that, still like that being somewhat true, Anthony Edwards, we literally watched him ascend to a whole new level, stratosphere of like stardom. And I think he's fine. It's fair to say like he's a legitimate like superstar in the NBA.
Oh yeah.
And he's easily gonna be knocking it down, if not in these conversations already, of being like top 5, top 6, or whatever way you want to showcase him.
Yeah. We talk about the top tier players being some combination of Jokic, Giannis, Shea, Luka, Tatum. It's like whatever order you want to put them in, that's typically people refer to as like the top 5. And is in that like number 6. Like he's in that mix.
Yeah.
Obviously right now it's easy to say he's higher than 6 because he just beat Luka. People are gonna, that's gonna be the talking point. Whether or not
at least for the summer. At least
whatever.
At least for the summer, it can reset at training camp. Lucas chain was snatched.
Yeah, whatever.
I don't care.
Yeah. Whatever order you want to put it in, Ant is
5.
firmly in that tier. Like he is in that conversation of you could debate him next to those guys between 3 through 6. Like he's in that realm.
Yeah.
He's ascended. Especially when he's playing against a team with no rim protectors. We can definitely say that now. We'll see how that looks against Draymond Green or the Rockets' fucking crazy defense in round 2. That'll be a good litmus test for him. But certainly the whole best 2 players in the court advantage did not prevail because Ant played better. And in large part because he is on a team that makes sense to allow him to play better, right? Like we just saw, like I mentioned, without any center play, everything collapses. And that includes their ability to get the most out of their stars. And their offense was just never great. And we'll talk about JJ Redick a good amount. He had a very good defensive season, maximizing this defense, getting us excited post-Luka trade. Like I said, they were strangely competent, strangely got a lot out of Jackson Hayes. He never did a great job offensively of maximizing Luka ball with organized offense and not just going straight to isolation. That's a tough thing to figure out with Luka without a role man on this new team with LeBron and Reeves. And there's a lot of moving parts that make it difficult when you don't have time to gel. They never did a good job of that, and they damn sure didn't do a good job of that in this playoff series. But like I said, it's impossible to do a good job of that when you have to play 48 minutes of small ball. Like, I can't reiterate enough just how much every issue this team has is exacerbated by the fact that they have 0 backline help, and Austin Reeves, Luka, LeBron, all of them are constantly having to be the rim protector in their switch all scheme. Like, your legs get so shot that the big reason why we picked them and why we, it's easy to say they have the 2 best players on the court, but what does it actually mean? What that meant is, in practicality, in late game situations, we trust LeBron and Luka to make the decisions in crunch time and be able to out execute in similar fashion to we trust Steph Curry and Jimmy Butler to do that against the Rockets. That's played out a little bit more similarly. The difference is they have enough defensive infrastructure that Steph Curry isn't switching on to Naz Reid every fucking play. So in the fourth quarter, he has some juice left to him. These guys did not. And sure, it's easy to say Jackson Hayes has always been bad, so we should have foreseen this. We should have. He was also good for 25 games, and that was the only sample size we had of him next to Luka. He was good. So I shouldn't have believed it, obviously. It's easy to say that now. I don't know how to parse that. Like, all we saw was him working with Luka, and then it just didn't. And I guess we can debate if JJ Redick should have gave him more of a chance, but my God, I've never seen a coach fucking hate a player more than that and give him such a small leash. He got in the game, made 2 mistakes, not playing the rest of the game. That feels too harsh because we see the outcome of that is playing this much small ball as a non-starter. You can't win. So my mind goes to maybe you should have tried to empower him and try to figure out a way to get some value out of him instead of kick him out of the rotation. But it's also easy for me to say that when I'm not the one who has to play him and he's playing like shit.
Yeah, but would you rather, like, you have to figure out which is the lesser of 2 evils, I guess. And it's either I'm going to play Jackson Hayes and somebody who has been playing for me for the last, 2 months, 2-3 months, or Maxi Kleber, who just got...
That's so embarrassing.
That was stupid as fuck. I'm ignoring that was stupid.
For the first time all season has been cleared to play, and you're like, hey, we have our backs against the wall. Go out and save us. Like, like that could not have been the best option to play him and not even get 2 minutes
Yeah.
out of Jackson Hayes. Like that stuff is really
That was
ridiculous.
lunatic
That's
shit.
so
JJ
embarrassing.
did a terrible job in the last game. We could say that. Like from the crash out in the media when he got that bad question it was a bad question, but then he was like, "Did you just fucking ask me that? Are you implying I'm too young to know what I'm doing?" Which like bad question, but also terrible response. Show some poise. From that to the fact that he literally cut Jackson Hayes out of the rotation after we saw in Game 4 that the small ball had kind of run its course. To say, okay, then I guess we're going to play 0 minutes instead of 3 of Jackson Hayes. To me, that's a ludicrous decision. That's too hard-headed. He got stuck in his ways. That was obviously a mistake. But before then, treating the games before that, that's a debate. Jackson Hayes was going out there and getting 2 fouls in like 3 minutes because Rudy Gobert was destroying him on the boards, making him get these off-ball fouls. So it's tough to say you should have let Jackson Hayes keep trying, but by Game 3, really after Game 1, I came up here in the stream last week and I was like, I'm kind of worried because I did not see anything to feel good about, even though we knew they would have a slower shooting time and the Lakers would probably win some games. The small ball was clearly an issue to some extent. I feel like it was, to me, not being a coach, you clearly need to find a way to get something out of Jackson Hayes.
I agree. I'd rather, like you said, when it comes to the lesser of two evils, me personally, when it comes to how I choose to go out, I'd rather give someone like Jackson Hayes the opportunity to go ahead and do so. If he fouls out, cool. We just don't have the guys. But you have someone who at least physically has he's a space taker. Bare minimum is what you need. And he is height. So now, when it comes to how effective and efficient he is using that height and using that 200 whatever frame body, obviously is not going to get you very far, but bare minimum, it's a body which was needed. Something that was so interesting this series, like you said, going back to what you said when it comes to why everyone eventually ended up picking the Lakers, were like, yo, like they have the 2 smartest players on the court at all times. And then when it comes to the fourth quarter's 2-3 minute mark, like we're going to trust Luka and LeBron 9 times out of 10 over someone like Anthony Edwards and I guess Mike Conley if he gets those opportunities. And every single fourth quarter in this series, the Wolves end up winning. That's something that was completely unforeseen. And every single game in this series too, outside of Game 2, the Wolves beat the living shit out of the Lakers in the paint. They were wildly efficient, mad efficient. I think after Game 2, Game 3, Jaden McDaniels in a post-game interview talked about how, I just realized like I'm the biggest player on the goddamn court at all times. I should keep on doing this shit.
Do you know why they won every fourth quarter?
Why so?
Because the Lakers were fucking gassed because they played 48 minutes of small ball and they had no energy left over when the crunch time came to play defense, while the Minnesota Timberwolves have a perfectly reasonable approach to their style of play, and their guys aren't asked to rotate under the rim and switch everything against big defenders nonstop. So their legs were completely fine. Especially in one of those games, Naz Reid came in after sitting for 7 straight minutes and blew the doors open in that fourth quarter. I think it was Game 4. Chris Finch smoked JJ Redick as a coach in the first round. We all have been one of the first ones to come up here and say, we think JJ Redick did a fantastic job navigating this season. We all have said, this is clearly going to be a top 10 to 15, whatever the number is, whatever you consider a great coach, he's going to be in that. We also say there's going to be some growing pains, right? You can't expect him to be great in the first playoffs. We'll see. That'll be a big deciding factor of what version we get of him. We had a good hope. We said that we trust his defensive game plans to make a big difference in the series, and we think that'll be an advantage for the Lakers. It maybe could have been, and then it wasn't because they didn't play Jackson Hayes at all and had no other alternative. So the strengths of JJ Redick defensively went out the door immediately when he decided Jackson Hayes can't play, or I guess when Jackson Hayes decided Jackson Hayes can't play because he's going to play fucking horrible. Outside of the defensive prowess of JJ Redick, he's still a young, very raw coach. That's his strength right there, is good defensive game plans. If that's irrelevant, he has nothing over Chris Finch. Chris Finch isn't the most mind-blowing, fantastic adjuster ever, but he's a good, very competent, high-level coach preparing his team and putting them in a position to succeed, making good rotations, late-game decisions, and that was a huge difference in this series. He made good use of their depth, whereas JJ Redick saw a team with very little depth and egoed his way into thinking he can do really advanced, like, oh, modern mind, we're going to play our 5 best players big minutes because they can handle it. All this, like, on the surface level, smart stuff that you need to have a certain level of tact of applying it. He went way too far, and I think his coaching ego really, really hurt him in the end.
Especially when your best player, whatever, you have LeBron on your team, who's 40 years old. Luka, right? Your top 2 guys is a 40-year-old and a guy who is known for not being in shape, right? And and Luka, when they got Luka, he was hurt and had to come back and play his way into shape. And you saw even through this series, you've seen Luka, because of how much he was being taxed defensively, run out of gas in some spots and go through injuries and be nicked here and there. And so you have all of that. So that, like, in itself is probably, again, you got to find ways to just steal minutes and steal a minute here, 2 minutes there, and figure out that aspect. So that's the Lakers side. The other part that we
hold on. Before we move on to Timberwolves, we also got to mention.
We have to.
We're going to move on to Timberwolves. Austin Reeves looks so fucking bad.
This is the worst possible matchup for
best
him,
third option in the league
at all. Like that best third option in the league chain is probably going to be snatched. It's snatched after this series.
You think?
Because it's it shows how if he's not like getting to this entire series, I think he took like 7 free throws.
Yeah, because we talked about on the stream last week that this style of play that they're allowing in the playoffs right now is so much more physical. This is the biggest difference we've ever seen between a regular season whistle and a playoff whistle. That's always used as an adage, like, oh, this type of stuff won't work in the playoffs. Usually that's gassed. This year it's not. These guys are playing football in every series across the league. And I'm not here to say whether it's good or bad. It's what it is, right? It's a different level of intensity being allowed. That clearly got to him. This team he's going against has a lot of big, strong, elite defenders who are allowed to manhandle him. And he is not equipped for that right now. He was clearly physically outmatched and mentally put in a goddamn straitjacket. It's a mix of that plus the defensive load that he and everybody else had to bear with no rim protector. His confidence was clearly so shot. He was so overwhelmed by the limbs around him, the crazy length and athleticism that not his brightest day at all. I'm not going to go as far as some Lakers fans to be like, you got to get rid of him. He clearly showed he's not ready for the stage. But he better fucking learn from this.
I got the numbers for Reeves in this series.
Atrocious.
16 points per game, 3.6 assists, 5.4 rebounds. He shot 32% from 3 and 41% from the field.
Yikes.
Averaged 1.4 free throw attempts per game.
Went from 68% true shooting in the last 20 games of the season to 54. Huge jump. And yeah, he was overmatched. And yeah, we'll move on to Timberwolves, give them their due. But this is the last time we're going to talk about the Lakers, so it's plenty to talk about, right? So not going to rush through it.
One thing I will say about the Lakers, too, right before we turn the page, is that it feels like JJ Redick was trying to play like 2018 or 2019 Houston Rockets small ball style. You remember how when they got Russell Westbrook and they fully committed to like, okay, fuck it, like we got Russ, need the most space in the world. Clint Capella, bye, go to the bench or whatever it is. Back then, the Rockets had so many quality, like 3-and-D wings. They had wings on wings on wings. The Trevor Arizas of the world. They had Damari Carroll. They had, who else? They had so many guys.
PJ Tucker.
PJ
Tucker and Robert Covington made that work because they were fantastic interior defenders.
Exactly.
People forget about Robert Covington shot blocking as a 6'7" wing. But yeah, and now, to be fair, JJ Redick was forced into that because of the roster constraints. But yeah, TLDR, this Lakers team is incomplete, like everyone thought they would be. We got a run in which we got excited because they showed us just enough life that we said, okay, we'll do the old adages. We'll say you don't want to bet against Luka, don't want to bet against LeBron. You do when the roster is incomplete. That's precisely who you should bet against. They are not above being able to be outmatched. The modern NBA, we're so past the days of just having the best player being a winning formula when you have no other huge advantages. And this series is one of the best evidences of that ever. The other best piece of evidence was the Timberwolves, same exact team last year, beating the shit out of the Phoenix Suns, who we predicted to beat them for similar reasons. 2 years in a row now. We got to get past that as NBA fans, all of us, that with how good teams are today, with how much teams have figured out basketball to a science, the better team that's more complete, that shows to be better over long periods of sample size, most times, barring a crazy collapse or shooting variance, whatever, is going to be the team that wins. We got to get this out of our head that these certain guys, they just figure it out in the playoffs. We haven't seen that in quite a while. That's not how the league works anymore.
Well, okay, so 2 things. One, we're kind of seeing that with Denver and the Clippers because every day
I said barring chokes. Look at James Harden's stats right now.
I'm just saying we've given the Clippers a lot of praise.
Yeah.
And you look on the other side and you look at some of the performances that Denver's gotten, and you're like, how are you even here? Oh yeah, it's because you're a guy who because Jokic is one of those kinds of guys coming into the year, and I think even right now, well, obviously we're still talking about ascending into that tier, but one of those players that we think is firmly in that tier is Luka. the way that Luka performed in the playoffs last year, and obviously it's a different setup.
Correct. That's where it ends, though.
No. But it is still fair. The way that he performed last year, the shot making down the stretch and all of that, you look at that and you say, okay, you were able to elevate to a certain level. And in that case, you feel fine about saying we have the best player in the series. So that's
the point.
That's one though.
Those are complete different scenarios. That's exactly what I'm saying is we can't just say Luka equal good in playoffs, so he's going to elevate. That's what we all treat it like. But Luka was good in playoffs when he was flanked by two great pick and roll bigs, athletic wings, a good secondary shot maker. It was the perfectly built team for Luka to be able to thrive. And situations, everything. We always say that. The best players in the league are not immune to that. That is the takeaway from this, is that when you're putting Luka in the best spot to make his value maximized, he can carry you. This team was never that, and we can't treat
I
even
think
Luka
the poster
Doncic.
boy of that is Giannis. We're clearly seeing it with the Milwaukee Bucks. Like, he is by far like the best player in that series. It doesn't fucking matter. Why?
Exactly.
Because he got KPJ in his corner. Why? Because he got Kyle Kuzma like averaging 5 points per game. Like, you know,
there's no X player is good enough to elevate you. Like, there's context there. Luka is good enough to elevate you when he has the right Luka infrastructure. He does not have that right now, so we can't be that. We can't treat everybody like it's if you hit a 2K rating threshold, you're going to be that guy in the playoffs and we're scared to play you. Teams are way over stars these days.
Okay, I think way over stars is a bit of a stretch.
You just watched it. It's not a stretch.
They got beat by a guy that we're saying is one of the 6 best players in the world. So like,
if Luka had the same infrastructure, you wouldn't be having a conversation. You would say Luka's still clearly better.
So like Ants.
I'm not going to question.
Ants ascending into that thing also. Right. And listen, Luka. One of the reasons why I was like, oh yeah, they are 100% gonna win the series is because I thought that they were going to make sure that Rudy Gobert was absolutely food. And you saw time and time again, Gobert defended everybody, whether it be LeBron, Reeves, or Luka. He defended them as well as you possibly can. And that was one of the advantages that I thought was like a very, very serious thing for the Lakers. Gobert, his defense, and we can talk about him last night especially, which last night was the culmination of you guys are just small, right? Like that's what last night was. But for him to come out and go from missing every layup.
He was 5 for 12 before this last game.
That's crazy. He looked like one of the most clumsiest offensive bigs that we've ever seen. And then for him to go last night and almost have a 30-20 game is absolutely insane. And
that's how bad this roster is.
Shout out to Rudy Gobert, because me specifically, obviously, like, love to just make fun of Gobert and do all this other stuff.
There's like 100 videos of you making fun of Rudy Gobert.
I know. And
I was going to say that too. You brought it up. You're like, I thought he was going to be food. There's your problem, thinking Rudy Gobert is easy to expose. That's never been the case.
It's who has been somebody that has been able to attack and create advantages and to be good against Gobert, regardless of if his defense is good or not.
Are you talking about Luka? Well, that's largely gas. He didn't just obliterate Gobert last year. They won with defense, and that was a problem. This isn't just you. Everybody says this. Like, people are ratioing low on Twitter right now because he tweeted after game 2, I told you Rudy Gobert can't play in the playoffs. You guys know I've always been a Rudy Gobert defender.
Yeah.
That has largely always been fucking idiotic. People that pretend Rudy Gobert's defense has ever been an issue. Literally never once has been a real issue that makes their team lose the games. The offense, that's a motherfucking issue.
The offense,
and I thought the offense would be an issue, and I think it was, like you said, until this game. Mm-hmm. This game, the difference was, like I said, they played 4 tough games of playing small ball. Their legs were shot from the beginning this time, and they made a good adjustment that they essentially treated Rudy Gobert the same way the Rockets do Steven Adams, where they said, no matter what we're doing, you stand under the rim. When they're doing this zone, this rotating, you be there to get the offensive rebounds, and you dunk it. Mm-hmm. You don't go back in defense. Don't try to run in transition. You don't try to rotate too hard. Don't try to come set screens. Stay under the paint and dunk it every time. That was a good Chris Finch decision to change that up because they knew the Lakers can't continue to play this way. They're gassed, and it worked.
And it's great to be able to have Rudy's defense and tell him, don't do anything except for that, when you have Anthony Edwards handling double teams the way that he handled them in this series. When you have Julius Randle, who, and I think we all said it, like, obviously your playoff history wasn't great, but also you were hurt going into the last 2 playoff series, or the last 2 playoff runs that you've had. This is the first time that he's actually been fully healthy, and he had a really good series. And
what'd you learn about Timberwolves? Sorry, I thought you were done. Sorry.
No, go ahead.
What'd you learn about Timberwolves?
The biggest thing that I learned was talking about Anthony Edwards and his ascension. Earlier in the week, in the stream, I said that Anthony Edwards, he has a total number of assists of 31 compared to just 6 turnovers. He's levitating. He is just in another planet right now. But aside from that, because that's the most obvious thing, I saw like, yo, the biggest thing is this is the goddamn biggest team in the playoffs, and Rudy Gobert and Naz Reid and the rest of those guys are actually deep. They have depth. The biggest disparity also in this series that we saw was, on average, the Lakers bench produced 8 points per game. Naz Reid alone averages like 14 points per game. What the fuck is going on right now? It's a big
advantage. Yeah. So I guess what you're describing is
depth.
What we learned is second trade in a row. The consensus says the Timberwolves lost a trade. You give it a year. You give it the course of one season. The Julius Randle trade was a success. We have learned that. I think we up here had come around to it second half of the year when we saw the big change that they did around the deadline, where they made, to boil it down to a simple way to phrase it, they made Julius Randle the primary screener in pick and roll attacks and Rudy Gobert in the dunker spot. So they used Julius Randle as a downhill playmaker and used his short roll passing plus his ability to attack a defense like around the spacing of Gobert. Like, they really unlocked the ways to deploy him in the second half of the season. That's why they really ascended. We all talked about that, so we had been said we were wrong about that trade to some extent, but we still had our question marks, right? We all said the Randle trade is working, but is it still was it smart compared to just keeping Cat? Well, I don't know. I don't necessarily think so. So I think the main thing we learned is vindication for Tim Connolly. He did it again. Yeah. They won with depth because they got a 2-for-1.
Yeah.
Randle fit defensively better than Cat. You saw him switch.
That was the biggest thing why I was so open about this trade. When this trade initially dropped, you guys are piss poor about it, super upset, and of course, why the fuck would you do this after you had the most successful year prior to this year? But me personally, I was like, when it comes to Julius Randle, I know he's not known as a good defender, but he can be simply because of his mobility and how he's able to guard certain players who get lower to the ground compared to Cat is a tremendous upside. And that, alongside his ability to play make and Dante DiVincenzo, is why I was like, okay, this trade isn't as bad as everyone's making it seem to be. That plus flexibility reasons that's irrelevant to talk about right now. But the simple, I guess the word that you like to use is release valves that Julius Randle's able to provide, and Dante DiVincenzo is the Timberwolves' biggest strength. They have so many options and reliable options at that as well.
Yeah, you're right. You got it. You won. And you won the battle. You won the war.
And that's a Chris Finch thing, because I think for Randle, he very much and I've talked about it before, his mood is very, very up and down. And I think early on we were very, very vocal about the defensive effort that we saw from Randle, and how it was some nights he would be engaged, some nights he wasn't. And when he wasn't engaged, it was piss poor defense. They did a very, very good job of realizing if you're going to maximize him, you have to give him a job and make him feel like he is actually a part of the framework of the team, rather than say, okay, Ant, you go do your thing, Julius Randle, you go do your bully ball thing. And the fact that their offense feels cohesive, you were able to create an environment where Randle felt felt involved in everything and felt like he actually had some buy-in and some ownership. And so that is one of the major things, because the one of the reasons why I was like, okay, this trade is fine, is because Randle does have more playmaking chops than Cat.
Exactly.
And so offensively, you felt like, okay, that's going to give them another layer. But that, being able to unlock that and having Randle be his full self, that was very, very key. And you're seeing it right now. And so we had a conversation, last week, or maybe somebody said a note. Where it's are the Clippers the best team, the second best team in the West? And it's actually, it's probably the Timberwolves. They
were the Warriors, probably.
Yeah, they probably are. And seeing the way that the Warriors are relying on guys like Quentin Post and Guy Santos to really make stuff happen, and Moody and all these people, I feel a little bit better about Minnesota and their depth, rather than
they certainly have less variance to them. They're the safest team, I think. If you're looking at the landscape of the West and who you want to predict to get to the conference finals and give the Thunder the best chance of anybody, they have the best floor right now. They are a safe team that's gelling, that are working, that have the depth. They don't have to rely on any bad players. I saw this one article. I forgot who wrote it. I wish I remembered. Somebody wrote that the age of the best player being what decides the championship is gone. We're now in the era of the weakest link.
I did see that. Yeah.
Don't have the weakest link out there. I think the Ball podcast has a theory they talked about where they phrase it as the no shitters theory. Mm-hmm. Don't play any shitters. Don't have anybody out there you can pick on that are clear weaknesses. The Timberwolves do not play any shitters. I'll tell you that. They have a deep 1 through 8. They can go a little bit deeper with some young players if they needed to. They have absolutely no shitters, and that is a big deal in the playoffs. Every other team we can point to has some sort of weak link. Now, we'll see how we feel when we predict the future rounds between the Timberwolves' top-end stars versus some other teams, but their bottom end to middle end, stronger than anybody's.
Yeah, exactly. I agree. There's almost no scenario in which you wouldn't want their 1 through 8, excluding Rudy Gobert, playing on the court at all times. Like, everyone legitimately has a role for every single second and minute that the court is ongoing. So yeah. I agree.
Yeah, man. So shout out Tim Conley. He did it again. Everyone has to eat crow in this trade. And I still don't love the flexibility argument for the long term, but they undoubtedly, like, the fit. You could say they're a better basketball team that has a better versatility against certain matchups. So, like, you can just say straight up for this year, they got better after the cat trade. It's not crazy if you want to go that route.
I'm bought in to the flexibility part of it because at this point, if you tell me that you want to do any type of roster reconstruction, I'm like, okay, fine. You have Ant. And I'm so bought in to what Ant is doing and everything that they're building in Minnesota because listen, man, these clips, I'm telling you, I'm bought in. I'm so moved for him to beat Durant, Jokic, and LeBron in 3 of his last 4 playoff series. And then even last night, just the fun social clips, taking a victory lap around,
that's
right?
Dope.
Doing all this stuff, pulling out receipts. All that is awesome. Every time that he gets in front of a microphone in big spots like this, especially when he doesn't play well, he takes every single moment to be like, no, like my teammates are doing it. Like he's bigging them up. His leadership, his growth into being the number 1 guy, it's face of the league stuff. You know what I'm saying? And it doesn't.
And he doesn't want it.
Oh my god!
Oh my god!
Even
Of course, the Moadib would not think he's the Moadib, making him that much more the Moadib.
Yeah, I'm all in.
Yeah. We'll talk a lot more about Timberwolves when we do our second round predictions on stream next week, presumably when the other streams are over. So much to say about them, but like I guess it boils down to people were tweeting me whenever I was on Twitter talking about the Lakers losing, making jokes about it. People were like, "Do you believe in us now?" I'm like, I never didn't believe in you. I'm just a fucking Lakers fan, and I was not going to pick against the Lakers with Luka Doncic in the first time at the playoffs. If you think I was going to do anything other than convince myself the Lakers were going to win at least one playoff series, you're out your fucking mind. I was always going to pick them in the first round, but against any other matchup, I was on the Timberwolves bandwagon. I was scared of them. I'm very excited to see them in the second round. I'll say that. I'm not sleeping on them whatsoever.
It's going to get scary.
It's going to be terrifying.
Now, with that being said, if the Lakers had won this series, I don't think I was going to pick them against the Warriors. I've been very scared of the Warriors as of late. So I ducked that smoke because now we're not going to see that playoff series. I might have had to come up here and say I'm picking the Warriors, and I think I would have done it.
No, it's about to get scary for the Lakers. We're going to talk about it in the summer, but it's kind of scary.
I don't think it's relax. It's not scary. They have Luka Doncic, and they have the flexibility to do other things.
What's the next matchup?
It's not scary at all. But
it's going to take some time.
Yeah, not really. Not really.
Over under 3.5 years, you get a chip with Luka.
I don't know. Getting a chip is that's so hard. But like, I think if you tell me they're in the conference finals next year because they got Nick Claxton,
make the finals. Make the finals.
I think the Thunder are here to stay. You're talking to the number 1 Thunder players in the world. So
I'm gonna say over.
I'm picking the Thunder until I
over 3.5 years just to make the finals.
If they get Nick Claxton this summer,
yeah, everything has to go right.
I'm saying in whatever scenario you
I don't think that way. I don't know.
It's like best case scenario. If they don't make the finals in 3 years, would you be disappointed?
Again, I think
obviously
no,
like
because I think the Thunder are this good, but I'll say this: if they get Nick Claxton this summer for like the Mark Williams package plus another pick, I think they will be good enough to make the conference finals, and at that point they can compete. You know, like they'll be the contender we thought they could be if they get a center like Nick Claxton. That's like they're to become like be able to beat the Thunder. You need to do more. You better figure some other shit out. I don't know if that's possible, but to hit the baseline competency that they can be who we hope they could be to me, it's as simple as getting the center. That's enough to be in the conversation. I don't think anybody's passing the Thunder up anytime fucking soon. So.
Yeah, I think considering how committed Rob Pelinka is after this series, I think it was this morning or last night, probably this morning, he was talking about how like he's committed to making roster moves and changes and making LeBron James' life so much easier. So for me personally, I'm going to speak for you. It's probably going to be, it would be safer to say under, but I'm going to say over. So because there's so many moving parts, injuries happen. Luka's only 25, 26 years old. I feel
and LeBron's 40. Like, I don't know how much longer he's going to be there. I'm not thinking about it through like they got to get a chip the next 3 years. They don't like. I
just pulled a number.
I know. I'm just saying like that's not where my mind goes. I think they will be. I just think about it like they got to be good enough and have a roster that makes enough sense to give themselves a chance, and then we'll see how it looks any given year with the pieces that are at hand.
Yeah, the pieces aren't even there, so it's hard to predict.
And I don't think it's hard for them to get those pieces. Well, it's not easy. Like
it's not unreasonable.
They got to give up some shit to get it, but it's like they will this summer. They're gonna come next year with a team that makes sense on paper, and then we'll it's a put up or shut up year for Luka Doncic. We'll see how he can carry them.
He has by far the most pressure on him going into next season, easily by far.
But I trust they'll give him the necessary competency around him that we'll find out what his real ceiling is. And that's all I care about is like just make it make sense, and we'll see how the pieces go out. I'm not even going to try and project because who knows what it looks like, but they should and will, I think, have a team that makes sense next year.
I will say a very, very interesting storyline that's not talked about just yet. Austin Reeves will be up for a contract extension sometime in the future. I am so interested into seeing how that plays out, whether or not they decide to let him go ahead and ride out. I think the max amount of money they could offer him is like maybe 22, 25 million a year. And
he's going to test a free agency.
I will be noticing. I will be peeping that out.
He's going to get 28 to 30 mil, I think. He's not going to get like a max, but he's going to get 28 or 30. He's going to get a good amount of money.
That means the Lakers got to wave their goodbyes if that's the case.
No, it doesn't. What it means is LeBron picked that fucking pay cut. You're 40 and you're clearly not a top 10 player anymore. Like I was telling you guys all year, Mr. Number 6 in the playoffs.
LeBron's going to go ahead and take a pay cut?
Yes. He said he would last summer. If as long as Rob Pelinka can fucking get some players. That we'll see.
He's done it before, so I guess it's not out the question. But regardless of the fact, still number 6.
If they can get fucking that was insane. By the way, that was insane. But yes, that's another thing. Another thing we learned about the Lakers, which we've been learned all year. People just didn't want to admit it. LeBron is not a top 10 player anymore. That's abundantly clear. So they have to approach the decision making with that in mind because he is not at that level anymore. Top 15 might be kind of hard. I don't know his top 15 right
hard?
now. It's tough these days. So that pay cut better be coming so we can get some players around him. 50 mil for an 18th best player in the league is a tough sell.
Hey man, listen, he's about his bag too.
I don't know.
Everyone's like, hey, Tim Duncan got carried when he was 40. Why can't LeBron? Blah, blah, blah. Tim Duncan took some fucking pay cuts. So we got to give and take if we want to see that happen.
Yeah, we'll see how he moves.
We'll see. All right, next playoff series. Like I said, we spent a lot of time on that. It's the last time we're going to talk about the Lakers for the rest of the playoffs. We had to. Now, going to do the rest of the NBA playoff series. Let's go out east. Bucks versus Pacers. Donovan, what did you learn about the Milwaukee Bucks?
I learned that they are going to be in NBA hell for the next 4 or 5 years.
Tough.
And we had the conversation about Dame on stream earlier this week and kind of how that impacts the Bucks and their outlook and the fact that they don't control any of their picks until 2031. The fact that they traded a franchise legend for Kyle Kuzma, who's barely played in these last couple games, and whenever he did, he was not good. Put up a Tony Snell, a 0-0-0-0-0, whatever. You were leaning on KPJ, Brook Lopez, who throughout this entire experiment of we're gonna bring Dame in, and it's okay because we're gonna have Giannis and Brook to man the defense. Brook Lopez wasn't even hooping like that, and so now you look at this, and the lasting image from the Bucks season is Giannis trying to fight Benedict Mathurin and Tyrese Halliburton's dad. who I will say, so they just announced right now that after a conversation, Halliburton's dad is not going to be at any of the home or road games.
Wow.
I think it's a bit OD. Like I understand. Listen, it's not a good look to have your father out there fighting the other team. I understand that. Just don't let him have like courtside seats. Put him up in a suite and let him be there. Like saying that he can't attend the games. That's a bit OD.
I love drama. I've never given less of a fuck than I have about this drama. I saw these clips. I'm like, bro, Giannis is so pissed about it. Tyrese is saying he's taking accountability, saying his dad was in the wrong. I'm just like, I do not fucking care about this shit, man.
I mean, his dad was wrong, but yeah, he's not going to attend home or road games for the quote foreseeable future. And it's like, all right, bro, like, come on. But yeah, like the Bucks, no, they're absolutely cooked. And I don't know where I don't know where they go, because Mo brought up a good point with that. If you trade Giannis and you tank, for what? You don't have control of your own pick. So now you're going to be beholden to the rest of the league. And so, like, I guess that's kind of a better situation. But if you trade, like, a lot of the teams that can trade for Giannis are good young cores who, if they get Giannis, they're going to be good for the next 4 or 5 years, right? And obviously, projecting out, are these picks going to be valuable in 4 or 5 years? That's always like a crapshoot. You never know what's going to happen. But it's not a great bet that you want to make in the moment. And so I don't know. So I don't know where they go from here.
They're just, to me, it's simple. They're beholden to whatever Giannis wants. If Giannis wants to ride it out and be loyal and say, I'm retiring with this franchise, that you guys did right by me, I'll do right by you. And he wants to be mid and have no chance of winning for the next however long Damian Lillard is under contract, for the next 2.5 years, I guess. He's going to be injured for one of them. If he wants to go out and just win 40 games a year and do right by the franchise, he can do that, and they'll be happy to sell tickets with him on the front of the building. If Giannis looks around and says, obviously, there is absolutely zero path to this team being a contender next year, or the next year, or maybe the next year, or any foreseeable year, and he requests a trade, they're going to have to do it, and they're just going to have to prioritize a package in which they get players that are competitive while being young. They're going to have to say, maybe the Rockets want to give us Sengun. I saw people were debating that on Twitter. Rockets fans were like, fuck no, I'm not giving up Sengun. Are you stupid? And everybody that's not a Rockets fan was like, are you stupid? It's Giannis. Of course you give up Sengun. Whatever the package is, right? They're going to have to target some competent, good players. Like if the Pacers want them, they're going to say, we want Siakam back because we want to continue to be competitive. And they're going to have to
pretty
toe the
much
line.
sounds like you're saying that they're going to have to pray.
Yeah, no, literally, it is whatever Giannis wants, because it's up to him to request a trade or not. And if you request it, you got to do it. Nobody says no these days. So if they trade him, they have to toe the line for the reasons you're saying and maintain a competitive roster with players that are proven talent and not asset packages. It's a bad situation, to be clear. Like, they just are screwed, and they have to play whatever hand they're dealt.
If I'm Giannis, me personally, I'm requesting the trade yesterday, 2 weeks ago. You should have been done it. You won a championship back in 2021 after like so many years and so much like things going your way when it comes to, oh shit, like we stumbled onto a 2nd round pick who belonged to the Detroit Pistons. We turned him into something, Chris Middleton. Oh shit, like we just went ahead and got rid of the Eric Bledsoe days and we re-upped and we somehow miraculously got Drew Holiday. Oh my God, wow, like we got Brook Lopez and he's evolving his game into like exactly what you'd want in a 2020 style like basketball play. All these guys and all, like the formula is entirely broken, and each and every year they've just been worse and worse and worse. And if I'm Giannis, it's like, okay, bro, I look around the room, none of my guys are with me anymore, and the guy who is, and Bobby Portis and Brook Lopez, Bobby Portis, I'm not gonna say that name again. Brook Lopez is not the fucking same, bro. He's not the fucking same. So, and on top of that too, the franchise legend in Chris Middleton, you get rid of him. I don't care. He could have been on the bench, not even playing. He would have been way more useful than what Kyle Kuzma was able to produce for them. He averaged 5 points on like 30% from the field, bro. He did absolutely nothing. And then you know what the Milwaukee Bucks went ahead and did right after that performance too? In the middle of the playoff series, they re-upped their GM and they gave him a contract extension.
That was crazy.
For fucking what? For what? In my mind, that's easily one of the most disrespectful things to happen to a superstar NBA player. And if I'm Giannis, I'm just demanding a trade, bro. There's no point in sitting down, riding the ship out on a sinking ship and winning 42, 43 games. It's over.
Yeah, you can't imagine there's any logical reason to stay. It all comes down to how he wants to see the next few years of his life, what matters to him. And it's just time will tell, right?
Apparently, they have a meting like today going on, I believe.
Yeah, I saw that. Well, time will tell, right? There's not even much to say about the Bucks. Like, they are just screwed, and they're the newest member to that club of the infamous year of 2024 to 2025, in which the Phoenix Suns, Philadelphia 76ers, and Dallas Mavericks all saw their franchise go up in smoke. Welcome to the club, Bucks. The 4 horsemen of the shit apocalypse. You are now in the inner circle of fucked.
Can I tell you what I learned about the Indiana Pacers in this series?
I would love for you to tell me that, because I'm done talking about the Bucks.
These Canadians are dangerous, man. Andrew Nembhard turned into not a different player, because in the playoffs against the Bucks specifically, he just fucking hates them. He is so damn good, along with like the 5 through, again, similar to the Minnesota Timberwolves, along with the 5 through 7, 5 through 8. Should they could really go 9, bro, if they really wanted to. Every single one of these players just makes sense on this roster, and they, just like similar to the Lakers, made the Milwaukee Bucks pay for their lack of depth by having continuous players who just make sense to be on the court at all times and are flexible and versatile in every way possible and just make sense for their play style.
Yeah, I feel like the Pacers are like the one team I didn't learn anything about because they just like are who we thought they were. We said they are the better team and they're gonna beat these guys' ass. They did. We have long said that we like Tyrese Halliburton, that now that he got past the 15 games in which he was dog water and he was horrible for the start of the season, now that that's passed, he's returned to normalization. We reject the idea that he's the most overrated player in the league, like the players voted him. We hate that. We're pro Hallie, right? He played great. He actually sealed the final game by blowing by Giannis.
He didn't even have a great series, actually, bro. He
Yeah.
just put up like 17 and he averaged and he shot like 26% from the 3-point line.
Yeah,
so
he
it
did
wasn't
score
even
well.
like a Tyrese game or series for real.
But the beauty of Tyrese Halliburton, that shit does not matter because you are not going to. Well, I guess you can. The Bucks cannot make him uncomfortable to disrupt his playmaking. He's the best decision maker in the NBA right now, besides Nikola Jokic, I guess. His brand of playmaking is so special and so similar to like a Steve Nash type, where they're not going to prod around and necessarily make these corner skip passes every time, hunting the assist every time and making the play that leads to the shot. They're going to keep the ball moving with smart, fast, especially really quick decisions that just lead to good offense, swings the ball, keeps it moving to where it needs to be, a proactive passer that every time he's on the court, the team will be in a mode of hunting a good shot. You don't see a lot of possessions where things stall out and get gross because he's pounding the rock too much. He just plays a good style of basketball.
Exactly.
That like, I feel like I'm talking like coach speak around like a white running back prospect, where I'm like, he does it the right way. Everything he does, real grit, team player. That's how Tyrese Halliburton is. He is the epitome of white stereotypes around players, but that's real with him.
That's very funny. Like this series, I think ultimately is defined just more by the Bucks and their situation than the Pacers and theirs. And so whenever we talk about them, I look at Indiana and I look at them versus Cleveland, and I'm actually very like excited and interested for that series because one, we've already seen last year, even whenever Tyrese wasn't playing particularly well, but we saw this team be able to push Boston, a team that had one of the best profiles of all time as a title team. We saw them push that team every single game. All those games were close. You come back, Tyrese is playing he's playing better this year. You have another year of experience. And the Cavs, as great as they are not the 24 Celtics from last year. I think like one, they're going to be competitive in every single game. And how many games can they win? Like I think right now, I think I would still pick Cleveland, but it honestly wouldn't shock me. And I haven't like done a super, super deep dive into it yet, but it wouldn't shock me if the series went 7.
7 would shock me.
7 again. It's a lot, but the way that Indiana is playing, and maybe
that's how bad. Okay, hold on.
That's
Don't
what
let the Milwaukee Bucks muddy up your vision here.
Maybe I'm just caught up, but they do have some answers and a lot and some advantages to where they could push the Cavs.
They'll make them work for it. The Cavs have to play their A game. They can't have like second half. The last like month of the season, they had some dry spells in which they were going through the motions. They can't go through the motions. They got to play their A game for sure. The Pacers are the type of team you got to be on top of it or they'll flood you. I do think the Cavs present issues that the Pacers can't really have answers for, but we'll get to that. I won't pick them, but it'll be a tough series. You're right. It won't be the Cavs will walk over a lot of teams in this playoff run. Nobody's walking over the Pacers. If you beat them, it'll be tough.
It's minimum 6. I don't see Cleveland winning in 5. I think Indiana is. I think they can go and get 2 off of Cleveland.
I guess we can fly through the boring ass Cavs versus Heat series real quick because if you want to talk about things you learn, I said in the Lakers versus Timberwolves series, section that in the modern NBA, with how advanced things are and how to a science the game is played, you typically are who your net rating says you are. And all year, the net rating of the Cavs said this team is monstrous. They'll beat the fuck out of whoever's in front of them in the playoffs. My God, did they beat the fuck out of the Miami Heat?
Dude, not only did they beat the fuck out of them, they beat the fuck out of them as much as you could beat the fuck out of anybody and beat the fuck out of you history.
Yeah.
Like human history.
Nobody beats fucks like the Cavaliers beat fucks. And that's what I learned is that they just like, people were trying to get cute and they were on Twitter like, oh, Miami Heat upset. Like it was obviously like bozo shit. But nobody expected them to lose a game. I mean, to lose a series. But I guess some people were like, maybe the Heat get a game or whatever. The
Which
Cavs
they
came
almost
out.
did.
Yeah, shoulda, coulda, woulda. The Cavs came out and they put their fist down and they beat the 8 seed like they should. Beat them with the biggest margin anybody's ever beaten them for, like you said. So to me, I just learned that the Cavs are serious. Now, they didn't play any competition, so I'm not going to be like, they're going to win the finals. But you need to see, you always have to weigh things on a curve when you're looking like a 1-8 matchup because you know they're going to win the series. So there's certain things to look for. Do they get their game off? Do things translate to a playoff atmosphere? Because even if it's a bad team, they're still game planning for you every night. They're still going to be an elevation, even if they're not like talented. Everything translated just fine. I feel perfectly fine about the Cavs. They showed the exact level of ass whooping they need to show. This team is just as good as their regular season suggested they'd be.
Yeah, Miami had very much 1, 2, 3 Cancun energy.
Yeah.
in game 4.
So the Cavs, we learned we are who you thought you were. So good. What did you learn about the Miami Heat and how pissed they are?
The only thing that I learned about them is
they didn't show the highlights on Inside the NBA. That's absolutely insane. Ernie Johnson, he's like, yeah, we're not going to subject you guys to this. That's how bad that they were in that last game. For the Heat, I was waiting for y'all to get beat like this the whole time, right? Like you guys are a team that is in transition. You had your star request a trade mid-season. Your culture looks like it's kind of shaky right now. Mm-hmm. You are relying on Tyler Hero and Bam and all this other stuff. And it's like, it's fine, but they don't know who they are right now because their whole franchise is in flux right now. So it's fine.
3 first-round picks, Austin Reeves, Rui Hachimura. Does that get me Bam Adebayo?
Pat Riley's gonna say no and fuck you, go to hell. So because LeBron's on that roster,
3 first-round picks.
He would rather retire.
Yeah, I'm not giving
than
you guys
help LeBron out.
Yeah, but
not happening.
Yeah, so they're similar to the Cavs where we learned that you are who we thought you were, right? Not much new to go around, not many silver linings. Mm-hmm. This is a team that's without their top dog, and their secondary dogs are not the type of guys that can scale up and lead you to anything of note. Bam has, we talked about the past year and a half, right? Bam is stagnant offensively. He's not developed the way we wanted to see him develop as the years go on. Bam is who Bam is, right? So nobody expected him to come out and get 20 shots a game and blow your socks off with that Jimmy Butler. And Tyler Hero, if he plays a season without Jimmy Butler, he can be an all-star, like we saw. That is very within the realm of possibility. It did happen. It's not going to be this like great option in the playoffs. You're not going to be excited by that duo, right? Like they're just a team in flux that needs to figure out whoever is going to be their next guy, how they can get him, if they can get him with this core intact, what the trade will be if that's going to happen. If not, how we start over. You know, they're not really they're not a tanking type of organization, but some kind of reset or plan has to come in place this summer. If they go into next season with the same core intact and just try to figure it out, Miami Heat fans will have nothing to watch for.
We can't act like this is an 8 seed. They're a 10 seed.
True, I forgot about that.
They're a 10 seed.
I forgot about that. Man, the Hawks suck.
You know what I'm saying? Like that's what this team is. And so you're not looking at a 1-8, you're looking at a 1-10.
You're right. Sorry.
So it looked like a 1-10 series.
Yeah, this is a team that
Trae Young, when I catch you, you let this happen. You made me watch this. Trae Young, when I catch you.
This is the 10 seed in the weaker conference. They are not a good basketball team.
Yeah.
And so whenever you get to next season and you have teams like the Hawks who will hopefully be healthy, you'll have teams that are getting better, that are going to be able to steal wins away from them. They might be the 11 or 12 seed next year because Toronto at 11, they might be better.
They're getting better.
Philly, if they don't have the year from hell, they can get better. They can get better.
I'd hope so, but I don't know what the ceiling is these days with Joel Embiid.
Brooklyn at 26, but like there's a whole bunch of these teams.
The Hawks should be back in the top
the
6.
Hawks were the 8 seed, but you look at you look at the C team and they were 37-45, 27 games behind Cleveland. There's no reason why they should have been in this position anyways. And so, yeah, you're a bad team that got you congratulations. You beat the Hawks. You won 2 straight games, and that was your prize.
Okay. Let's move on to another good series, going back out west. Let's talk about Rockets versus Warriors. This series is currently 3-2 as of us recording this. By the time you guys watch this on Friday, it'll be the night of Game 6 that could end the series, in which the Golden State Warriors could close them out, or the Rockets could force a Game 7. We'll see. We all predicted this series would go 7. I think Donovan might have said 5 or 6. I don't remember.
I said Warriors in 6.
Yeah, me and Mo both thought it would go 7. So we'll see if the Rockets can hope they're in the bargain. We picked Warriors in 7 up here. Thus far, it's looked more towards the Warriors than we thought.
Yeah.
But then Game 5 happened, and the Warriors clearly thought they had that shit wrapped up, did not come out with intensity, and the Houston Rockets came out and defended with the force of 1,000 suns. They came out and they fought for their goddamn life in a Game 5 at home, and you felt it. They just snuffed them out from the start. They ran a beautiful zone defense. Amen Thompson was the best player on the court after having a very, very quiet first few games in which the smart defenders on the Warriors are able to really make him pay for his lack of shooting. He had a great game, exerted himself in the paint. They evened the series because they blew the doors off, and the Warriors gave up in the third quarter. They benched their starters and said, fine, we'll come back Game 6. Y'all got it. So Warriors first. What have you guys learned about the Warriors? Knowing all that, knowing where we're at going into Game 6.
When it comes to the Golden State Warriors, for me, I learned that the other guys matter so fucking much. Of course, every team, that's probably not a shocker or any like deep dive analysis whatsoever. But like they're so reliant, and they're how good they are, in my mind, swings entirely so much more than any other team in the league, because they're top end scorers. And what's after them is such an insane void.
Yeah, they're really, really heavy top-ended team.
Yeah, exactly. So whatever that they can get from Pods or Buddy Hield or GP2 or any of those guys matters way more than every other team in the entire NBA. And the games that, Steph Curry, I think it was Game 3 or 4. I think it was Game 4. In the games that Steph Curry is shooting putting up 16, 17 points, 1 for 9 from 3 or whatever the case may be, we see Pod stepping up. We see GP2 stepping up. We see all these other guys doing their thing. And also, something really that I learned as well is I feel more and more comfortable with Jimmy Butler and his injuries. Because if it feels sustainable, if the other guys, with his presence, it just unlocks so much things naturally. If he's just there on the court.
Yeah, I learned that the people who acted like Draymond Green didn't have a DPOY candidacy because they were annoyed by him campaigning for it. You guys are out of your fucking mind. Draymond Green is still one of the best defenders in the NBA.
I got a question for you.
What?
Draymond Green, 100 Draymond Greens versus 1 gorilla. Who you taking?
I think 100 me's could beat a gorilla. I think that question is stupid. I think I'm picking the humans every time.
All right.
I think I've seen enough discourse that
10 gorillas versus 100 Draymond Greens. Who you taking?
Oh shit! 10 gorillas.
Okay, so what's the number? Let's break it down real quick.
How many gorillas would it take to beat Draymond Greens?
Yes.
Okay, so let's distill this. How many Draymond Greens would it take to beat 1 gorilla? Is really what we're getting down to.
Okay.
Because
Yeah.
20.
Down.
Yeah, because
20 bare minimum.
because a lot of the discourse is okay, fine, you get 100 men. What is the quality, right? How strong are they? Draymond Green in terms of the
elite athlete.
Yeah, elite athlete, 6'7", very strong. You have
12 Draymond Greens. I'm taking 12 Draymond Greens against 1 gorilla.
12?
I think in the question, everyone treats gorillas like they're made of fucking adamantium, like they're just unbreakable beings, and I think that's outlandish. I think 20 men could take down a gorilla.
You think how many of us can take down a gorilla?
It would take about 40 of me's, 65 me's, something like that.
Yeah.
But if we're assuming it's of random qualities and we don't know the ability of the people, it's just an average person.
Okay.
20, 25, I think could do it.
Okay, we can stick to the Draymond thing.
12 Draymonds.
For me personally, I think I lean towards 20 because the first 3 or 4 Draymonds are going to get shredded to pieces.
I think Draymonds are very happy sacrificing 7 of those.
How smart is Draymond going to be when it comes to how he decides to attack this? Because if he's doing the nutcracker shit,
he's gonna be smart. But I think I'm taking at least 30, right? Because I'm with you. I think the first 5 to 10 are basically a sacrifice. But if you give me 20,
12's too much. 20's fine.
20 solid Draymonds to go ahead and fight this gorilla, I'm gonna take that.
Yeah, I think 20 people is a good number. I think 100 is an outlandish amount. And I think the people that are how do we deal damage at all? I'm bro, these are animals. These are not
20 people on one arm is
Not even
You're
that.
done.
They'll tire him out. You run around, just spin him around, you'll tire him out. Their faces are not made of steel. If you punch him in the nose, it hurts.
Yeah, that's the thing about gorillas. A lot of people don't understand. Like, yeah, they're so massive, so strong, fast muscles and shit like that. But
Animal Planet.
We humans are built for fucking endurance, bro.
We're so
That's
much
our
smarter.
thing. We're so much smarter, and our lungs. They work much better. They're functioning. These guys get tired. They'll get tired after the first
Put them in a 40-yard dash.
3-4
Gorillas get
games, bro.
smoked.
It's easy.
Can't hang.
Like, bro, people I think people watch too much Planet of the Apes and shit and think gorillas are this like they're just made of steel. They're a force. They're aggressive like grizzly bears. They're forces of nature nobody can fuck with. None of that is reality. This is not Caesar. You're not fighting against Caesar right now. He doesn't have the smoke that made him a genius.
Yeah.
This is just a monkey.
They
You're
watch too
gonna
much
win.
movies.
Like, it'll be tough. A lot of people are going to fucking die, but 100 people, come on.
Yeah.
Anyways, yeah, I learned Draymond Green is a DPOY level defender who's doing a fantastic job diagnosing this Rockets offense, doing a good job against Sengun. He's playing well, but when he gets matched up against Draymond, he's not going for this post-up game that Sengun thrives in. We saw it in that drive when the Rockets tried to win in game 4, when they tried to go isolation in the last play. Draymond shut that shit down as expected. He's going to foul the shit out of him, and they're not going to call it with the game on the line, and Draymond knows that. That's what makes him so good. He's one of the smartest defenders in the NBA, still is, and you're seeing every ounce of that value in this series where interior scoring is the name of the game. Draymond is doing a fantastic job adjusting to what they want to do on the interior and breaking up those passes. I feel good about them going forward. I think they'll probably win the series.
Okay.
Now for the Rockets. What have you learned about them? Because I feel like a lot of it is another scenario of like they are who we thought they were to some extent. But what have you learned that's like different than what you thought?
I will say something that I learned more so. This player has earned my respect. I learned that Alfred Sengun is that guy. He is his ability to be what he is defensively in terms of like the limitations.
He's got a good
necessarily
defensive
like exactly be what he is defensively, but take that up to an entirely another notch. To me, makes me feel so much better of his value all around the court. He had a good defensive season, and he's taken that to another level in this Warriors series. I've seen him like face guard Steph a couple times the last game, and of course, like that's an impossible task. You put him up there 100 times, most of the time he's probably going to get burnt. But seeing how he's able to move his feet and be smart about where he's like trying to force Steph to go angular wise is fantastic. And me personally, have a lot more stock in Alfred Sengun, and I now give him a chain of being one of those guys in that league.
Yeah. Okay.
I'm not going that far. Like I don't think he's like when you say one of those guys, are you saying like he could be the best player on like a great team, a championship team?
No,
Like,
I don't mean that necessarily. I'm not calling him like a number one guy or whatever. But in terms of like
That's what it sounds like
he
to me.
is a guy who you can rely on in a playoff series,
Like, he's good
and there's
enough.
no variance in his game. Like he is
Okay.
who he
Okay.
is.
I
that
disagree
far.
there. I disagree there
He's
I
been
think
good.
I think no variance in a playoff series is asking him to be like Jokic.
Yeah, for non-shooter, that's tough.
Like, yeah, that's tough. I will say that for me, right? We've talked all season about the trade candidates for the Rockets, and it's like, should they go get Devin Booker? Should they go get KD? Right now, the Giannis stuff is popping off. I think for them, I wouldn't look at Devin Booker, and I wouldn't look at Kevin.
Not even close.
I'm not looking at them. The only trade target for this team should be Giannis because they are so scary and so athletic. The fact that they in just waves can swarm you and can overwhelm you, and they can get out and they can run. And as Amen continues to develop, as Jabari and Şengün are there, and as you get the ball out of he had a great game yesterday, but out of Fred VanVleet's hands consistently towards the end of games, you are going to be great. And I think that when you have a strength, and something that we're seeing across the league is like, people going back to double big lineups or whatever and something like that. But you see these strong, big, athletic teams being able to wear down other teams in a playoff series. Houston should definitely double down on that strength. And so if you can get somebody, obviously, if you can get Giannis, go get him. But like that's the thing for them, is that should be the trade target.
I think it's hard to imagine a world in which Giannis, Sengun, and Amen all make sense together. So that's the hard part.
One of those guys are gone.
One of the guys are gone. One of those guys have to be gone.
Yeah, but like it's not going to be this like beautiful game thing. It's going to be, we are just bigger than you. We're faster than you. We are a little bit more. We're going to be able to lock up. Like their defense right now is awesome, and I think doubling down on that strength and trying to patch the other stuff.
Sure, but
is fine.
the reason we all picked them to lose is because of the limitations of them, not because we don't feel like their strengths are good enough. So like, I do want to see them like get better at the weaknesses. Like they do need shooters. They do need off the dribble scores that are consistent, not like Jalen Green. So like,
yeah,
I would like Kevin Durant. I thought you were going to say I wouldn't think about trading like a Sengun or a Min. In that scenario, fuck no. But I do still want them to get Kevin Durant and Devin Booker just for like the lower tier assets. I would only think about trading one of those top 2 guys for Giannis. That's the only person that I would consider potentially.
Yeah.
But I do still want them to get someone like a Kevin Durant if they can do it for a cheaper price because they'd win the series.
No, it would be good. I'm not going to act like it wouldn't be a good idea, and I obviously like see the logic. But I think with them like having elite athletes everywhere and having guys who are just bigger than everybody else is such a strength. And so having one of the biggest, fastest, strongest guys is fine. And Giannis, as much as my personal bias of what I would like a superstar to look like and all this stuff and like bag work from the perimeter, all that stuff, Giannis can go into any series and get you 40. And he's added a mid-range jumper. He's added, not added, but like he low-key has had a lot of like playoff moments where he has finished the game and has made the shot and had stuff like that. So I think like that aspect of like can Giannis have the ball at the end of games? Like that's a little bit overrated or overstated. But that's the thing for me, because the thing, at least for the Warriors, especially in this series, I'm with you. Like I realized how important, or well, actually no, you said the other guys. Jimmy Butler is so important for this team. I think Jimmy Butler drawing fouls is so key, because in this game, and what you've kind of seen is like when people start to run on Golden State, the game can kind of get out of hand and it can get like out, away from them. Jimmy Butler and his foul drawing can slow the game down. And so I think like that's key for them.
I'm so happy that Sengun has broken out of the school of Domantas Sabonis. Like I've been very vocal over the years, obviously, on how if I'm building a championship team, I'm not paying a max salary to Domantas Sabonis because of his limitations, right? Like that's not how I want to build a team. Sengun previously was in that same realm as a not impactful rim protector, not a spacer, and not a good enough scorer and passer that you like make up for those deficiencies. His defense is so much better than Domantas Sabonis right now.
Yeah.
He's a legitimately good defender as a drop coverage big. He's not going to change your life as a rim protector or anything like that, but when you have elite defenders around him, he plays his role completely fine. Not an issue whatsoever. Now, he's not going to be like super switchable, top end skills, but he won't sink your defense at all. You can build a top 10 defense as you saw this year around him. And his go-to scoring bag is so much more impactful than what Sabonis does on offense as the like passing hub guy. And like Sabonis' scoring is
just
like
running it up on Sabonis, bro. Sabonis is chilling at home.
I'd just say that Sengun like has the top end skills of his own shot creation that like breaks him out of that mold and gives him enough value that it's not just like the gimmicky passing hub stuff that Sabonis feeds off of. Like
he's just playing with his kid at home.
Yeah. I ain't praying no mother, bro. What's going on?
Sengun is not in that anymore. I still like my source of being a Sengun hater. I say I'd rather have Chet, I'd rather have Garland, I'd rather have other people ahead of him. I still feel that way. Yeah. But I completely understand the Sengun thing. Like if you can have the right roster around him, like he is not a dead weight in the way that some people in the archetype are. It's really hard to build around a big that isn't an elite defender. He has crossed the threshold in which he's not a liability there anymore, that I don't think you need to have any fear of him being a piece around you.
For this team, yeah.
When it comes to Sengun, I'm happiest the most because he breached into another like category NBA player in terms of like trustworthiness. Like, I can roll with you and feel okay. You don't stick out like a sore thumb, like you said, anymore.
With that being said, I'm still trading him for Giannis. I want to see the ball.
I'm trading almost anybody for Giannis, of course. He is not good enough to escape those conversations.
You talk to Rockets fans, they're like, absolutely the fuck not. Don't ask again. They are crazy about it. And like, I would understand that if Sengun was like the 3-point shooter that Jokic is, then it would all come together. But as of now, give me Giannis quite easily. If that's what it takes, give me fucking Giannis.
Something that we haven't talked about just yet because it's obvious to us, and we talked about it on TD3 Tuesdays, 6 p.m. Eastern Time, 5 p.m. Central. Tap in, is the Jalen Green stuff. Every single problem that the Houston Rockets have, he is the definition of that. He is that. He brings those problems to them. He doesn't help them whatsoever. What he's supposed to do, he is the complete opposite of that, bro.
I'm so over doing Jalen Green. I told you so. Like
exactly.
The prediction before the series started, as I said, they think they would. I think they would win the games in which he gives you elite production. They would lose the games in which he doesn't. That is exactly what has happened.
Figuring out ways to win without him being
Good
like
luck.
even playable for real is insane. And they were able to do that because Fred VanVleet turned into Trae Young for like 40 minutes of the game.
Exactly. Yeah. Somebody has to give you outlandish shooting. 9 times out of 10, it has to be Jalen Green because of how your team is built. If Fred VanVleet wants to carry that torch and he wants to be the one to give you 35, then maybe it's possible. But it's going to be tough without a go-to scorer like that. So give me Devin Booker. I had to say, I still think they should get Devin Booker.
Yeah. Shout out to the vets doing their thing. Fred VanVleet, his shooting is going to be what it is, up and down. But for the most part, he's had a good series. Dylan Brooks has been he's been great as well.
I like him.
Yeah. And then obviously Steven Adams is doing the normal Steven Adams stuff as well. Like these guys are doing good. Amen Thompson had a great game for the first time this series as well.
He has a lot to learn, though. He has a lot of development to do.
Yeah, a lot of people has been quiet about some of the things that he's been doing, but I'm keeping those reserved because he's a second-year player at the end of the day.
Yeah, I think I've always been like I've always said he's going to be an all-star since he was drafted, but some people are taking it so far, saying he's going to be like a top 10 player in the league. I don't think all that. Like that's really hard to get to when you're not a shooter. So like there needs to be a balance of recalibration, I think, because like he's going to be an all-star, but he's going to be like unlike Andre Iguodala, Draymond Green type of all-star, where he's there because he's so amazing at all these Swiss Army knife things, but he'll be a better scorer than a Draymond Green type, worse defender. But but he's like a 25th best player in the league type of all-star, I think, not top 10 player in the world. Like people got to calm down a little bit, I think.
Yeah.
No shot. If he doesn't have the shot, then you got
Yeah, and like maybe he does develop a shot, but that's like from where he's at now. I mean, hopefully,
it's so hard to say because the shot is literally non-existent.
I'm sure he'll become competent, but like I'm not expecting he becomes like a good shooter.
Mm-hmm.
It's always, we've seen development stories of that sort before, so it's not impossible. But I'm not necessarily hitching my wagon to this is a top 10 player in the world. This is like a top 20 player in the world, probably. That's totally fair.
Yeah, all right.
That's fair.
Next series, quick one: Thunder versus Grizzlies. What did you guys learn about the OKC Thunder in round 1?
They're the title favorites. Like nothing, right? Like they're amazing.
Kick ass.
I learned that I'm more confident about them now because we're seeing that these refs are letting all these playoff series be played like jail yard football. We're punching each other in the chin. We're fouling every play and we're swallowing our whistle, letting them play through it. And if that's going to continue to be the case, yes, Shea will be less efficient than he was in his historic regular season. But yes, they will win the title because they have 9 elite defenders who are incredibly physical. And if they're allowed to foul you every play and be that physical, you are not beating the OKC Thunder. If the conference finals and the finals are played like this, expect swift victories.
Yeah, I agree. OKC, they've been. I turned the corner on them. I think mid season. I don't know if you guys remember, but earlier in the year, my title favorites were the Denver Nuggets.
Oh, I
obviously
remember.
Switching that shit up.
Oh, I
You
remember.
Yeah.
You remember.
I was there.
Things have changed, and in the mid season, I was like, these OKC guys are probably for real. And seeing how they were able
Probably
to,
for real.
Yeah, they're probably pretty good.
Probably all right.
Yeah.
wow, they might be.
I'm
title
thinking they'll
favorites.
win some games.
Seeing how they like destroyed Memphis, even without Shea being this is the worst version of Shea Gilgeous-Alexander that we've seen this entire season. It's probably the worst I will ever see.
Bro,
this entire play.
it's the worst 3-game
It's
stretch
crazy.
of his last 3 seasons.
Yeah,
He had the
it's
worst
crazy.
stretch ever. Game 4, he turned it around, but those first 3 games, it is the worst he scored in the last 3 years. So if you're gonna sweep somebody with that, this team is just next level.
Yeah, exactly.
For the Grizzlies,
Oh, shout out John Morant though for figuring him out.
that's what I learned. I learned
They figured some shit out.
I learned that he has taken the mantle of the most annoying star in the league.
Oh, I thought you were gonna say if man.
No,
Okay.
I think like for the lack of self-awareness, which is weird because he had a moment of self-awareness before he said it, because he was thinking about like, should I say it, should I not? Everything that I say goes viral, whatever. And then to still say it is like, dude, y'all got blitzed. Y'all lost in 4 games, right? Like there's to say that you figured it out a couple years after you say, I'm fine in the West. You haven't made a conference finals. You haven't played multiple
5
games. Once again, one of the reasons why I was like, yeah, I don't think that the Grizzlies are going to do it was because why? Because John Morant doesn't play basketball for 2 weeks in a row. And then look at what happened. He obviously crazy injury, but why are you always the one in crazy positions? You once again were not there to finish the series for your team, and now you have Scottie Pippen Jr. trying to hold it down. You have Desmond Bane, Jaren Jackson Jr. trying to hold it down when this whole thing is trying to be built around you. The coach got fired because you weren't happy, and you're not here at the end of the series. I'm not gonna say I'm done, but it is very annoying to where every time we turn around and Ja Morant is in front of a mic, there is this smugness, this arrogance, where it's like you and your team have not done anything to not appreciate this, but to get to this point. Y'all were the 2 seed, collapsed. You were in the play-in, and you had to beat some sorry Mavericks team in order to get here. It's very annoying. The act is over, and if you can play for 3 weeks, shout out to you. If that is actually the bar.
That's the bar. Wow.
That's the bar. If you could play 2.5, 10 straight games, that is awesome. That is
like 50 Cent in the Floyd Mayweather video. If you could read 2 pages out of a Harry Potter book.
If he can, it'll shock the world.
Yeah. So I guess the thing we learned about the Grizzlies are they're at a point of inflection because they are not close to being a top tier contender. They're not incredibly far away, but it would be naive to say they could run it back and just be back on the top of the West and not make any changes and variance will go their way and they'll be in the mix. Like, they got lapped by a lot of people out West. They were supposed to be who this OKC Thunder team is. Ja was supposed to be who Shea is, elevating to one of the best players in the league with the necessary co-stars in Jaren Jackson and Desmond Bane and a bunch of good depth. We've complimented their depth for years. They do the best job of almost anybody in the NBA at replenishing that depth year after year, and it's not enough. They're top-end talent. It's not enough.
Yeah.
They have to figure something out because you can undrafted player your way every single year to a new 8th man that's going to replenish the one you just lost and do that every fucking year forever. But if your big 3 that you paid 3 max contracts to are just not good enough, like these 3 clearly aren't good enough.
Yeah.
It's to no avail. You're not going to make a splash in the West that gets better every year. At this rate, Giannis is going to be in the West next year because every fucking star migrates their way to the West Coast every year. You are not in a position where you can feel confident going forward in the core you have.
This inflection point that they're in too is so incredibly tough because when it comes to the other guys, the Jalen Wells of the world, the Scottie Pippen Jr.'s of the world, and shit like that, you have no static or pressure towards them whatsoever. Hell, and me personally, I would even say like same thing for someone like Desmond Bane. Like, my attention is not towards you. More so, it's about the top end guys and Ja Morant, who we just talked about, and Jaren Jackson Jr., who was unbelievably bad, bro. He's so bad, he got me stumbling on my fucking words.
Said unbelievably black.
What he was able to do. What he was able to do, which is absolutely nothing, is embarrassing against his Oklahoma City team. We saw a lot of people earlier this season when Ja was, out as usual for his week 2 period of time or whatever. We saw Jaren Jackson Jr. be the guy of the team, and a lot of people were giving him his credit. He's probably going to be on All NBA third team at the end of the year whenever they decide to announce that. You cannot have that type of label on you and then proceed to go out to put up like 16 points on the most horrific efficiency you've seen in your life, bro. You just can't afford that, especially if someone like Ja Morant is going to be in and out of your lineup and roster. So this inflection point is so interesting, and I feel like I've never seen something like this before because all the static is pointed towards their top 2 who've had a little of success, but nothing proven necessarily just yet.
You got 2 games in a second round.
Mm-hmm.
Like, you said, listen, Minnesota passed them up. OKC passed them up. You go out east, Cleveland passed them up. Indiana passed them up. Houston has won like 40 games in 3 years, and then they passed them up and they got to 50 wins. Everybody, like, we can't treat the Grizzlies like until proven otherwise. They should not be treated as a B tier team in the Western Conference until proven otherwise.
This is so simple. What they're gonna do: Desmond Bane and assets for Kevin Durant, or Ja Morant and assets for Giannis Antetokounmpo. Which one are we doing? Which dice are we flipping?
To me personally, I'm taking Giannis. Like,
Oh yeah. I mean, me personally, I'd like to have Giannis.
Yeah.
No shit. But whichever way the cards go, if Giannis requests a trade, I think they're going to be in that mix, and I think you could see a Ja Morant situation because I think that would make sense for the Bucks to get themselves a young star and swap that. And Giannis and Jaren, you could do worse.
That's the easiest way.
Scottie
out of
Pippen
the
can elevate. Desmond Bane's still there. Like that could make sense to me. And if you're not going to do that, I think Desmond Bane has to be traded, not because of any fault of his own, but you need to get some more top-tier talent. He makes a lot of money. You can attach him with some picks to a team like the Phoenix Suns who want to continue to rebuild around Devin Booker. Plug and play Desmond Bane, I guess. Be competent, give them some depth. It's possible for a Kevin Durant trade.
Yeah.
Do I like it for Phoenix? Fuck no. I don't like anything for Phoenix.
I'm thinking about it. It's like Beal, Booker, Bane.
But do I like Ja, Kevin Durant, Jaren Jackson? Hell yeah, I do.
It's cool as fuck.
I like that a lot. With Big Zach Edey down there, I like it.
Still gonna win 40-some games.
I don't know. That team would be filthy. What 40? Kevin Durant?
You know what's hilarious? Like
They're not gonna have their star player for half the season. KD's
God.
you say, oh my God, like it's an overreaction
I know.
to anything.
yeah, that's true.
I would love that team. I'll deal with the missing games.
This sucks so
That's
much.
what they say. That's what they say now, and that's why they're in the position because you say
Desmond Bane is
I'll
not
just
Kevin
deal.
Durant. It's different.
They shouldn't even
How
be
many
in the
games did KD
goddamn
play
Western
this year?
Conference, bro. These boys belong in the fucking East. They belong in the East.
That's so disrespectful.
No, not. I'm talking about like geography wise.
No,
they
I know what
belong
you
they belong in the East, literally. And if they were in the Eastern Conference, then we wouldn't be having any of these conversations.
I know what you mean.
And they'd probably be in the same tier as the Indiana Pacers.
That's just the same as being like you belong in the G League. Barely different.
Oh man.
One more team to get to before we take a break. Celtics versus Magic. What did we learn about the Boston Celtics? I guess I'll go first. I learned that Kristaps Porzingis, you better count your fucking days in Boston because if you do not perform better, you will be salary dumped this summer. He is playing so poorly. This team has a financial inflection point coming up. The big basis of why we picked them over the Cavs all year is because when they have KP healthy, they are next level. Damn near the perfect basketball team. He has not looked good in this series. That's the biggest thing I learned is that we need to see a second round in which Kristaps Porzingis really makes us feel good about his place on this team because that's the ceiling decider there. We're going to feel good about the Celtics no matter what. As long as they have the Jays healthy, as long as they have Derek White, Al Horford, the necessary spacing, elite wings, elite guards that we know and love to make them so unbeatable, we're going to feel good about them. But if we want to feel great and we want to feel like they can stomp out the Cavs and get back to the finals and maybe beat the Thunder, we need a good Kristaps Porzingis sign to show life that he can be that deciding factor. He really hasn't been.
I'm just now looking at these stats. He put up 12 points, cool, similar to last year, no issue, but on 35% shooting from the field and 18% from the three-point line.
How tall is he?
7'4".
Fuck off. 35% at 7'4". Good Lord. Yeah, we need to see him be better. The idea of Kristaps has been a lot more effective this year and really even last year than he really has been. And listen, man, these teams this year are better. The Mavericks are not walking through those doors. The Cavs are a different level. The Thunder are a damn sure different level. I'm not doom and gloom on the Celtics. They're probably going to be fine, but if we want to feel more than fine, if we want to feel like they're the favorites, we need to see a good second round series.
Yeah, I agree. Kristaps needs to realign himself and reestablish himself as the dude who makes his team feel like they're unbeatable. I'm not going to say like this is the most vulnerable they've been over the last 2 years, obviously. Simply because of, health. Jaylen Brown and his ongoing knee issues.
Yeah.
Obviously, he looks much better. New injury happened when it comes to Jason Tatum, his wrist. Of course, like we saw Kristaps Porzingis earlier in the series. It looks like there's no issue now with him, but his unicorn got fucking ripped off. So,
crazy.
like, the health overall is looming for this team, and this is the most vulnerable that they've been, and nothing would help more than Kristaps Porzingis just like making them feel unbeatable.
Yeah, and maybe they'll be okay. They can win without Kristaps. They've done it before, right?
Yeah.
But the Cavs can beat them right now. That's on the table. The Cavs are nothing to play with. They can beat them. If you want to see a world in which you don't feel that way, you need to see better from him. And then for the Magic, I think what we've learned is everybody besides Paolo Banchero and Franz Wagner should be on a new team next year.
Yeah, Wendell Carter Jr. is so fucking gone, bro.
Yeah, I'm being hyperbolic, not literally everybody. Keep Jalen Suggs, keep whoever else. But
yeah,
the entire outlook of how we're choosing to build around these guys needs to be completely reevaluated. This idea of being this gigantic, lengthy team that wins with defense and these two guys develop to lead your offense, Makes sense in theory, right? We've seen teams win that way. It's not outlandish. It's not going to fucking work. We need to see this team with some offensive spacing. If we're going to give this star duo, this incredibly young, they're incredibly young. They're fucking 23 years old still. So I think people that are like, they can't fit together, we got to get rid of one of them for sure. Too soon. If we want to give them a real chance, these two have played awesome in the series. You know, there's been some down for games, but overall, they've played very good. I think you should feel very encouraged about both these guys, especially Paolo. He's been getting downhill, doing all the things we asked him to do early in the season. If they go into next year with the same style of team, it'll be an immense disservice to these guys. We need to see them with real spacing. Move hell on earth, get a stretch five. For the love of God, get a dynamic guard that can shoot and create. Get me the Anthony Simons type we've been begging for. They need to just rip apart this roster down to the seams besides these top two guys. It needs to be a complete framework shift in how you want to build around them.
I will say, I learned, and I had a suspicion that this needed to happen, but I fully learned that Franz Wagner needs to tap in with lethal shooter.
Oh, absolutely.
because if he does not, then what Isaac's saying, you're gone. I'm only looking at Paolo. The shot looks so crazy.
It does.
Not only from the fact of it's not going in, but from the actual literal, it looks crazy, right? Like it looks different than what it did a year ago, 2 years ago. And obviously, because Paolo is not an amazing three-point shooter, because you've had this team built on a lot of defenders, we've talked about so much about the spacing and this and that. Your two top guys are going to have to be able to provide some of that, and to play off of guards like that, one of you guys is going to have to shoot. And if Franz isn't going to be that guy to even a competent level, he's shooting 19% from three in this series.
Fuck.
It's ridiculous. I had questions last year about how he looked in the Cavs series, and then they went and they gave him the extension, and it got worse. It got worse this year. So Paolo is the only one where in back-to-back playoffs for this team, it looks like he can survive on a playoff floor. And Suggs, right?
Yeah.
But obviously he's not here. But Franz is not looking like a guy that you can actually rely on in a playoff setting, because the shot looks absolutely horrendous.
And he's done some good things still this year. He's had good games, but there's been down games. But the shooting is an issue no matter what.
Yeah. And if this roster was at least slightly below average shooting wise, and if they didn't find themselves consistently like top, like the worst 3-point shooting team over the last like 10 years, no hyperbole, it's actually facts, then like I would feel less pressure on Franz. But Franz is literally the answer, because outside of Franz, they got KCP shooting 26% from 3-point line, Wendell Carter Jr. 27%, Corey Joseph 31, Anthony Black 15, Gary Harris 16, Jonathan Isaac 25. Do you know
what's
the
crazy?
numbers?
Paolo Banchero played fine. I don't really have any. You guys know the bad habits he has. He's gotten better at, but still needs to work through. You know how I feel about that. He shot 71% at the rim this year in this playoff run, in these 6 games. I guess they're counting the playing game there. 71% at the rim, 40% from three.
Yeah, he shot 44% from this series right here.
And guess what his effective field goal percentage is? 46. You know how fucking horrible you got to be from the mid-range to shoot 71% at the rim, 40% from three, and have a 46% effective field goal percentage? 33% on mid-range jumpers. And, you know, last year he was so insane in the playoffs because he shot 56% from long mid. Good to see that he can produce at a high level without that variance. Because that was fugazi as fuck. Shooting 56% from mid-range is ridiculous. But he exerted his will, 71% at the rim, up from 54% in last year's playoffs. That's what you got to see.
This is what true buckets is about.
It's not even true buckets, because people with bucket getters love mid-range jumpers. This is what real scoring impact is about. This is what I'm saying. Actually impactful.
That's what I'm saying. When I say bucket, obviously you guys think about mid-range. I'm just saying, can you score when I need you to? Can you figure out stuff, and can you solve problems?
Yeah.
And having Paolo in the setting to where for the past 2 years, we've seen him in the first round. We've seen him, and it's just like, hey, our team needs this. We need some scoring. And Paolo has been able to do it one way or another. Now, when Paolo, if and when he gets to the point where rim, mid-range, and 3-point starts clicking, listen, if you talk about that for any player, now we're just talking about one of the 10 best players in the world, right?
Yeah.
If all of those start clicking. But as a player who has very, very subpar offensive help and is still learning, right? They played 5 games. He's played 10 playoff games in his career. this is what you want to see. And so going into next year, when you have Jalen Suggs and his spacing back, we'll see what other moves that they make. The stage is now being set to where we can envision a Paolo Banchero masterclass going into year 3 as a playoff scorer.
And he showed us the rim aggression was a huge point of development in the second half of the season when he got back from that injury and like really got his feet under him again. Even in this playoff series, his level of aggression is ridiculous. Him getting to the free throw line, ridiculous. If you give him the necessary context, like you're saying, give him enough help, next year should be the year that he's finally is that consistent top 20 player in the league.
Yeah.
That we've been saying, like, the shades are there. He's just not putting it all together. Like, even this playoff series wasn't efficient overall.
Yeah.
In large part because of context, but also his mid-range habits are still bad. He still is a good passer from a standstill point, but not a good live dribble passer. He still has developments to go. He's still so young, right? Next year, I think, will be the year where we see it get put together and he is that consistent impact guy. For the love of God, give him the help necessary for it to fucking matter.
And because of what you said, like, he just is a sheer force and he just feels undeniable because of all those things. And that's why when it comes to how you evaluate the Orlando Magic and what you're willing to give up versus what needs to be better at certain things and whatnot, like Franz Wagner, there's no compensating when it comes to him and his game and his ability to shoot the ball at the end of the day. It has to happen.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I don't know what the path is to fixing this team, but they got to figure it out because he's the most appealing ball of clay anybody's ever seen, and everybody's assumed it's going to be molded the right way. We're starting to see it be molded the right way, but if we want to get it to be that perfect statue, that we get the perfect version of him that this raw potential can turn into, he's going to need help or he's going to stick with these bad habits forever, and we're not going to see peak Paolo for a long time.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So give him a chance, Orlando Magic. Please, give him a chance. And with that being said, we have 2 playoff series left to talk about. We have the Denver Nuggets versus Clippers, and we have the Knicks versus Pistons. We're recording this Thursday, May 1st at 4:37 p.m. I'm going to play a little graphic because we're going to come back and talk about this in about 6 hours at midnight when those games are over to give you guys our live reaction. So in about 5 seconds, you'll hear us talk about the Knicks. It'll be 6 hours for us. We'll see you guys shortly. It is now midnight. We're here 6 hours later. The same. Just came off of watching Knicks versus Pistons and Denver Nuggets versus Clippers. Game 6 of both series like we told you guys we would. Live reaction. Donovan is wearing a different outfit.
I thought that was a bathroom robe. Like, what type of time are you on, man?
This is a cardigan, sir. This is high fashion.
Okay.
Oh, I don't know nothing about that.
Tell us why you changed outfits.
Because it's Knicks and 6, baby. You know what it is. You already know what it is. We got them bums out of here. We got them Detroit bums out of here. JB Bickerstaff's crying ass. We got him up out of here. Malik Beasley, too worried about shaking his behind instead of catching the ball. We got him up out of here. We're on to the next round. I love it.
Yeah, man. Let's start with Knicks versus Pistons. Like Donovan said, the Knicks have finished the series in 6. We were all pretty confident. I don't remember your guys' final predictions. I said Knicks in 5 on the episode.
I said Knicks in 6.
Yeah, I said Knicks in 5. I was very dismissive of the Pistons and their ability to, I guess, translate to the playoffs, for lack of better words. Similar circumstances to the Rockets where their half-court offense was never spectacular. They were really built off of defense, forcing turnovers and running in transition, whereas the Knicks are one of the best teams in the league at protecting the ball, and obviously they have the closer. They have Jalen Brunson, and that's what we saw in this game. So the title of this episode, the topic we're talking about every team is, what have you learned? Well, what'd you learn about the Knicks in this series?
What I learned about the Knicks. I mean, they're exactly who I thought they were.
Yeah.
Like from top to bottom.
Pros and cons.
Yeah, pros and cons. Everything that you can imagine and predict happened. Really, I've already earned like the utmost respect for Jalen Brunson already. I already said, like, I think earlier in the year, like, to me, he's like a bona fide like top 10 player that the NBA has to offer. But genuinely, I do feel like the NBA, what I did learn is we need to respect Jalen Brunson even more after this series because the carry job that he had to do offensively and how he just like throws his body all over the place and just falls for almost no reason. But hey, guess what? When he falls, the ball does go up in the air, and 9 times out of 10, at least it feels like it goes in.
I like the word you chose. The carry job that he has to do.
Yeah.
My biggest thing that I learned is that he doesn't have to do that, but they choose to let him do that every single time. The Tibbs and Jalen Brunson combo is undefeated of him getting all the touches in the world. My biggest thing that I learned from this is they're not being the Celtics.
Yeah. No way the hell it ain't happening, buddy. So all that joy that you have in your mouth, you have 2 weeks, 2 more weeks, and then you're just like me and him. All right.
Did your team win a first round playoff series this year?
Can't say they did.
Did your team even make the playoffs?
You hear something?
Exactly. Shut the hell up. Shut up. Because for the last, it's not about the next round. It's about tonight, right?
Congratulations. They won 14 games last year.
So what are you talking about?
Impressive. You beat Tobias Harris and Malik Beasley.
They were here this year.
It took you 6 games to do that.
They were here this year.
I was scared. I thought they were gonna blow this game when end of the fourth quarter came around. There was like 2 minutes left. It was a tie game. After 3 quarters of me thinking it was obviously a Knicks win, I was like, "Yo, are they gonna blow a 3-1 lead right now?" I was expecting comedy to go down. So shout out to them to close out the series. It's never easy, even though they were the better team and it played out as you kind of expect. Shout out to them. They got it done. What do you think about Cat in the series? I'm most curious about that. What was your takeaway from the Karl-Anthony Towns experience through one playoff series?
Shout out to him for stepping up in a couple big moments. I mean, tonight, like he had the missed free throw, but then he also had the hustle to go after it to create another possession, kind of get it back. I think that one, the Cat, like when he was on, but the lack of touches and the lack of creativity, and we talked about it after game 2.
Yeah.
The lack of creativity to get Cat involved is a real problem. And so, like, in terms of things that we learned, you learned that there absolutely needs to be a change of philosophy.
Yeah.
For lack of a better term, because they like have absolute stretches. And as soon as the clock hit 5 minutes in the fourth quarter, you knew exactly what was going to happen every single time down the floor. Brunson is going to bring the ball up the floor. He's going to be pressured. They're going to run a screen. He's going to get the ball across with like 1 second to go. There were so many like 8-second violations. It was actually making me very anxious.
And to be fair, if there's any players in the league that you're going to feel comfortable running that type of simple offense, Jalen Brunson's on the short list of players that can execute that clearly. They've 2 playoff runs in a row now of him being able to handle that load. So it's tricky between falling into bad habits versus this guy enables bad habits. So I understand the dilemma there a little bit, but yeah, like specifically when we were talking about things we learned, we knew their defense was going to be hit or miss, but they are good enough defensively to get past a team like this with this mediocre half-court offense. We know the pros and cons that come with Karl-Anthony Towns defensively, right? None of us are going to be surprised if he gets diced up in the next round or however it goes, right? I'm most concerned with... Again, I'm not taking it negative, even though they won the series. I know. But shout out to them again.
Which is absolutely like ridiculous.
I mean, it's the question of the episode is what do we learn in the series? What I learned is they're specifically bad. Haters. They're specifically bad at counters against switches. They do not have a deep bag of how to attack a switch defense other than Jalen Brunson attack whatever defender they decide to switch on you. And that's a specific issue with the next series against the Celtics.
Yeah.
Because other than that, the only thing I can say I learned is that because they won for the reasons we said they'd win. So in terms of learning, I didn't learn a whole lot about the Knicks positively. Donovan, did you learn anything good about them?
I mean, I learned that Mikal Bridges is still like valuable. And I think that that's something that can get lost. Like Mikal Bridges for the entire season has been somebody who can get kind of lost in the shuffle, especially when you have Brunson taking up a lot of the offensive real estate. You're trying to get Cat involved. OG, his offense has grown over the second half of the year. And then Josh Hart is at his best when he also has the ball in his hands and he's kind of running transition. And so you look around and there's so many nights where you're like, yo, we gave up 5 first-round picks for Mikal Bridges and he scored 9 points. And tonight, Mikal had 25. He had a massive tip-in at the end of the game, kind of saved, the season. And so seeing that was very, very optimistic because going into a series with the Celtics who have five players on the floor at all times who are offensive options, if you know that you're not going to lock the Celtics down, the only way that you're going to win is to go band for band with their offense. Mikal's going to have to be on. And so having this type of performance from Mikal, that was very encouraging and it's something that I'm like, okay, good. Like I did learn that. And so I'm actually very happy about that from this game.
Yeah. I feel like a stunning lack of commentary on the Knicks. Like, I don't even know. We've talked so much about them, and I just feel like this was a series that they won the way they should have won, and we have the concerns. All year, all we've talked about with them is how they match up against the Celtics. Like, that is truly the end-all, be-all for this team.
Yeah.
So,
oh, my God.
Yeah. And I guess we'll just keep praising Jalen Brunson because, like, we just keep learning. It wasn't a question for us up here. Actually, no, yeah, never mind. What we did learn is, he's the best player in the series. Was never a question for us because we're all Jalen Brunson appreciators, but people want to thrust Cade into that conversation, as they do.
That was one of the most forced conversations out there this entire playoff series, for sure.
And I get it. Shout out Cade. Probably going to be all NBA this year. Very great player, great season. Took great leaps for this team. I guess we can use this as a transition to talk about the Pistons and where they fell short in this series and how that's, indicative of where they are as a team. But Jalen Brunson is clearly on another level. The way his go-to shot making and his resiliency attacking a variety of coverages, holding his dribble late into the clock and not passing it or having the loose handle to where he has to pick it up and give it up. He can probe and do this like a rudimentary late game offense because he can just like take his time and eventually get to his spot with 1,000 dribbles. Dude, that's a big difference than what we see from Cade in the series.
Exactly. And I was just about to say, the biggest thing that I learned from this series is Cade Cunningham needs to take some fucking notes from Jalen Brunson in terms of the scoring bag. Of course, that's insane to say because Jalen Brunson is one of the
it's not insane to say. Don't act like it's crazy.
Scorers. I know it's insane to like ask Cade to be that level.
I don't think it is.
It's not. Cade is a young player. This is the first time that he's actually had a solid core around him, and we were all like happy that he finally, made the leap because he was in a situation that allowed him to make the leap. But this is year 3 of the Jalen Brunson experiment in terms of him being lead dog on this team. So he has reps of being the number 1 offensive option. Yeah. He has reps of having the ball in his hands in late game situations. And for Cade, you saw earlier in the series, I think in game 3. Yeah, in game 3. No, my bad. Game 4. He had a chance to win the game. He didn't do it. You saw tonight. The game was tight. It was very close. You had Cade going downhill with the chance to finish, and he misses the shot. And on the other side, Jalen Brunson, who has Asar Thompson, who is amazing defensively.
He's an issue.
Listen, Asar had several possessions where he locked Jalen Brunson up, but I think the offensive resiliency that you talked about was clear. But the fact that Jalen Brunson can still go back to that and shake Asar Thompson to where he's literally not even in the frame and get his shot off and have a wide open shot to end the series. Yes, like Cade has to take notes.
He has so many notes and things to learn from. Like during the last 5 minutes of this game, remember, he went scoreless. That stat that you gave us, I believe, during our predictions, I believe it was a stream or something like that. You said, oh my God, like, yo, guys, you wouldn't believe it, but Cade shoots like 35% in his clutch time stats efficiency. And like this game right here, the last 5 minutes is a clear-cut example of that. He disappeared, and in times in which his team needed a bucket, he just didn't have the necessary skills just yet to get hit to a spot.
Yeah, so for the series, I think it's a mixed bag. It's his first time in the playoffs. As a lead guy, it's a tough situation, right? You're going to have some learning curves, and he did. But he had a lot of good to go with the mixed bag there, right? Like he had like 3 good games, 2 really bad games, I think, for his standards. Obviously, good or bad, whatever. And he shot 25% from 3. That's not a good place to start. It's going to be really difficult. The star jump he made this year, number 1 reason was the playmaking was night and day. He's one of the best playmakers in the league. But also, the off-the-dribble 3-point became a pretty crazy weapon for him that kind of made up for the lack of above-average rim scoring. Like, I think we're at the point now where we realize he's never going to be the type of athlete that can be a dominant rim scorer because he doesn't have the first step or like the verticality to kill you there. So you mentioned he needs to learn from Jalen Brunson. Correct. Because that also describes Jalen fucking Brunson. He's also never going to kill you at the rim with athleticism. He does it with craft. We need to see that in between game develop for Cade. You saw, like you just mentioned, those clutch game moments where that becomes more of a exasperated issue because that's where you have to score in those moments. I think it was a above average. I'd give Cade a B for his first playoff series, but all those weaknesses really shined. He knows exactly what he needs to work on in the summer, and it showed in the series.
Yeah, exactly. And I feel confident that he will learn and actually like have that first year, second year, third year playoff progression as time goes on. But what I am not worried about, but it's just like it's not a given that the Pistons organization will do the necessary next steps and give him like legitimate options. I love seeing what Tim Hardaway Jr. did this series. Shot 35% from the field. Malik Beasley, he shot like 35% from the field or 3-point line as well. Those two were like it was do or die for them. Those two combined attempted like I think 18, 23s a game. That they know their role. And when it comes to the Pistons and what this team is devoid of overall. Yeah, obviously it's like firepower. So I think that's like the next step. And I feel like if you give Cade someone who has a lot of that, we've been clamoring for guys like Zach LaVine. I think like just last year, or I think it was during the offseason last year. They need that more than ever in order to help him make his life so much easier.
Yeah, they just need to get two-way wings. Right now, all their wings are one way. Yeah. Hardaway, Beasley, one way. Asar, one way. That way is really great, but he has to develop the outside shot. Obviously, that's going to be imperative for him. I guess Tobias Harris is a two-way player, but it's like fine on both ends, right? Like they need to find their core around K that is going to be impactful on both ends. Because right now, I mean, who does that consist of? I guess Duren had a decent two-way series.
He was good, but like
for his defensively, has always been an issue with him. He's been better. So Duren we can count as a two-way player.
Schroeder was good for them in the series.
Oh yeah,
he was good.
Like,
I mean, like core players around.
And
K,
that's the problem. Is like when you talk about other creators, Schroeder was the only other one that could actually semi get to his shot or create some type of offense. And shout out to him. Like when Schroeder's on, like he's on, but that's not a guy that you're talking about creating a core, like you said, for the next 3 to 4 years. So yeah, they have to get that going. I also think that like Cade's leadership in this series, him, like he did play kind of like a vet. I thought that him, Tobias, and Tim Hardaway, they all felt really, really grown up in this series where there were a lot of other people that the moment kind of felt like it was getting to them, like JB Bickerstaff, who was out here crying every 2 seconds. Like Cade acted more like an adult than he did. And so I think for them moving forward, like that's a very, very good sign for 23-year-old in your first playoff series. We're building the core around you. I feel very encouraged by that.
Yeah. This is another one. Like both teams, this was probably the most besides the 1-2 seeds where they obviously can blow out the teams they're facing. This is probably the most chalk series of the middle round, where the young team that lacks two-way talent around their star, who's never been there before and has to learn, is just outmatched by the team with one of the best closers in the NBA and just a lot more top-end talent across the roster. Kind of went what you think. So wherever you assumed the Pistons had to go from here, they do. Wherever you assumed the Knicks will soon fall short in the playoffs in the round 2, they will probably.
Man, don't worry about that. I'm not even looking at it like I'm not looking at it as the series or even game by game. This is quarter by quarter, right? This is possession by possession.
Speaking of quarter by quarter, another thing that I noticed with
that's also crazy.
That was an insane pivot as well, bro. Ridiculous shot.
The balance. This whole like final sequence is ridiculous. But the balance by Jalen Brunson all the time, to always know where he's at on the floor, be able to go off of 2, adjust himself in the air to get whatever shot up. Like that's something that I mean, obviously, like it's easy to say like every guard can learn from that because it just helps your shot making. But he was insane down the stretch.
And that's specifically what Cade lacks. That's specifically the in between game he needs to develop to make up for his deficiencies and like develop that craft as he gets older. That finalized version of Cade will, if he becomes the top 10 player that he has potential to be, it's because he's fucking 6'6" Jalen Brunson while being an elite passer and great interior defender for his point guard.
And at bare minimum, if like that does not happen, him becoming like Jalen Brunson in terms of scoring or whatnot, like bare minimum, I hope that they, aka the Detroit Pistons front office, help deploy him with actual weapons in the playoffs instead of like they're asking this man to basically go into war with a butter knife instead of daggers. It's like, bro, whatever I was supposed to do with Tim Hardaway Jr. as my third best creator off the dribble, bro. That's ridiculous. It's hard.
Save him, Jaden Ivey. Save him.
I forgot about him. Dude, I forgot he existed.
Bro,
oh, my God.
Bro, Pistons fans were pissing me off because they were online. They're like, man, if Isaiah Stewart and Jaden Ivey were here, series would be different. No, it wouldn't have. No, it wouldn't have.
I don't even know what to think about Jaden Ivey. He could be an asset to use in the future,
but the whole year,
the conversation is so dead until like next year for me.
Trade him.
Yeah, we'll see what happens.
Kevin Durant. The Suns will love Jaden Ivey.
Be beautiful.
Either way, it's another year. We got another good first round win. It is what it is. We're on to Boston.
All right, and we're on to the Denver Nuggets versus Los Angeles Clippers. Probably the best series of the first round. We all come up here and said this is going goddamn 7 games. I think. Do we all pick the Clippers?
I
don't remember.
I had Clippers in 6.
Oh, okay. I had Clippers in 7, and I was like, I'm going to pick the Clippers, but I don't feel good about that. Anytime I say a series is going 7, that means I don't fucking know. And so I'll pick one that, like, I guess I got to pick somebody. But if I think 7, that means I think it can go either way. That, like, I think generally a game 7 is anybody's series. This truly was the epitome of it's anybody's goddamn series. And, you know, it's lived up exactly to that expectation. In this game, there was a looming feeling in the air coming into it that, damn, are the Clippers about to do some Clipper shit and get beat in 6 games when we all finally picked them to make a run? We said this is the best Clippers team in a long time. Are they going to go out sad in game 6 after losing on a dunk buzzer beater and then losing?
That's so demoralizing.
Game 5, like you smelled in the air, you smelled collapse, and they responded. They came out, they won the game. Mo, what have you learned about the Clippers in this series?
The Clippers are so volatile. They are so wildly the most volatile player that I learned about was Norman Powell. I learned that he is a completely different player when he's in LA compared to when he's Denver. When he's in Denver, he's averaging like 12 points, shooting below 40% from the field. But when he's in LA, he's putting up like 22 points, 23 points a night, shooting over 50% from the field. That is the biggest thing that I learned. And he genuinely, of course, like makes a difference and sways things for them alongside all the other things within this organization as well. Another thing that I learned was that, I really loved and enjoyed watching someone like Chris Dunn play over the first few games of the series. And then seeing the Denver Nuggets adjust and decide to just completely ignore him and give him the Ben Simmons treatment made me incredibly sad. And now it's making their life so much harder defensively. The Los Angeles Clippers defensively. And I learned that, the importance of two-way players is so fucking
you learned a lot of shit.
important. Yeah.
Just going.
I know.
Yeah. I also, we didn't learn this, but it's worth pointing out. This man Zubac is just so clearly the best Jokic defender in the league.
Yeah.
In the fourth quarter of this game, there was, I think, 2, maybe 3 distinct moments in which they were down single digits within 5 points. Jokic gets an isolation basket, tries to get to the rim. Just stuffed. Just straight up defended extremely well in a way that I can't remember anybody defending him one-on-one that well, stopping him from scoring in the post. Zubac is just athletically just like a cloned, slower version of him, but he has the strength to match up with him. Like, I don't even think like Rudy Gobert did quite as good of a job as Zubac does.
No, he has what I call girth. He has cushion. He has like a lot of just body-to-body contact that Nikola Jokic hasn't been able to feel ever in his career so far.
Yeah, and which I mean is true because you think about all the people that normally you're like, oh, go stop Jokic, and it's like it is Gobert, it is Anthony Davis, and while both of them are extremely strong, they are kind of thin compared to Zoo,
especially AD.
Yeah, and so like to have somebody who just has more mass on them to go and defend Jokic like that's it's a game changer.
I've been thoroughly enjoying watching them just fucking duke it out on the boards. These 2 white dudes the same size, look exactly the same, just fighting, just hell in a cell for every rebound. It's been one of the most exciting parts of the series, which is hilarious to say.
The Balkan bigs.
Yep.
I agree.
But yeah, well, again, this one isn't over yet, so TBD. But Nuggets. I guess what I've learned so far is that firing Mike Malone was the right choice because they are so energized under David Adelman. I was reading a report earlier that apparently this like lit a spark under Jokic, and he's been like the best leader he's ever been in this time as a superstar there. Nuggets reporters are comparing it to what it seems like when Jokic is playing for Serbia, where he like really commands the locker room and is like the guy and like completely energizes the whole team and like is the lifeline of them as a leader vocally. I guess that's not always what he's been, he's a quiet guy. Apparently under Adelman, he has like a new life and he's really taking the team by the fucking handles and like putting energy into them on both ends. You kind of feel that. Like we thought that the series would go 7 because Jokic's dominance and how good their offense is. They haven't been just like food defensively. Even Jokic has defended pretty well. And yeah, while the outcome is the same, 7 games what we thought, it hasn't looked exactly how I thought it was. I think they've held up on both ends better than expected.
No, they 100% have. And I mean, obviously, like Jokic has been in. He's had moments in the series where it hasn't been the best, but you also still look up and it's like, all right, Bicep, like 25.
They won last game and he was at the fourth leading scorer. That doesn't happen.
He put up like 13 or something.
He still had he had 13, 10, and 12 or something like that. Still had a triple double. But it was the Jamal Murray show, and you know that especially in long series, you're gonna need one of those games. In basically every series, you're gonna need the Jamal Murray game. But this series,
that's another thing we learned. He still got it
for one time every series.
Yeah.
I also learned the Clippers are still the Clippers because we're going into Game 7 and they just won today. And I look back at these 6 games and I'm like, how have the Clippers not won this already? Like I feel like the Clippers have had a lot of opportunities to really, really lock this series down. Yeah. And obviously, like Game 5, you have Jamal Murray's great game paired with the James Harden game that kind of comes in every series. But you have that. You have Game 1 that they kind of lost. You had Game 4 with the Gordon dunk, and it's just like
the margins are raised at the end of the playoffs.
It's ridiculous.
They've been the better team. You're right. They should have won Game 1. They choked, and then so they choke Game 1, and then they lose on the closest buzzer beater in NBA history in Game 3. Like that's the type of shit that changes playoff series. Like, yeah, I agree. They felt like they've been besides the last game. When I say last game, I guess now second to last game, Game 5. Mm-hmm. Besides Game 5, they felt like the best team wire to wire.
This feels like another coaching masterclass that we're watching as well. Dave Adelman is having a fantastic series with all the many adjustments that he's made defensively against this Clippers team. So I think that's a major deciding factor alongside Norman Powell's like variance, and then also like turnovers or whoever's able to make the least amount of mistakes in terms of executing what you need to execute offensively is probably going to decide the game, and that's been doing it so far. But another thing too is I don't know when it happened. I think it was may happen like Game 3 or so. It was right after Kawhi dropped like 39. Dave Adelman was like, yeah, bro, like anybody but Kawhi. Like we need to let other people fucking try to beat us, and they just. As soon as Kawhi touches the ball, we saw it a lot towards the end of this fourth quarter. Send another body, Jamal Murray or whoever it is, run towards this man and make him pass it out and let someone else beat us. And tonight, it happened.
Yeah, tonight Norman Powell said, bet, I got you. And Nick Batum hit some big shots. Yeah, that was definitely – I feel like what I've learned, like I feel encouraged by David Adelman that if he remains their coach going into next year, like I like him. I don't – like Doug Christie got a contract extension from the Sacramento Kings, and I'm like – for what? For what? Like, you don't even want to go look at what's around, interview some top assistants and see what other candidates you could possibly talk to. Like, why do this so preemptively? I would be okay with him doing this preemptively for David Adelman. Like, he feels like he's the goods. He was talked about for a couple of years now as being a top assistant that teams try to recruit. So if he didn't get this opportunity now, he probably would have got hired this summer. That wouldn't have been surprising. So I have more faith in him than I do in like the average interim coach.
Mm.
I feel like that is kind of a product of Jokic and the fact that
it helps.
But the fact that like one on the surface, he's already the best player in the world, and so that's going to do a level of elevating. And then 2, because you've seen a little bit more buy-in, like that's great. However, I do think that people should be a little bit cautious of falling for whatever happens in a specific playoff series. Like, listen, they might very well lose in Game 7.
I think they will.
Right? And it's a first round exit, and you're gonna have 7 games that you go off of and be like, yeah, like for these 7 games, you kind of got what you wanted, which was let's see if we can light a fire under our guys and see what happens in the playoffs. That's playing out right now. I think that for Denver. And I guess we could spin it forward to Game 7. I do think that the Clippers are going to win Game 7. 1, because they've been the better team throughout this entire series. And 2, you saw it once again at the end of this game where late game execution from Russell Westbrook and things that could have changed the series. It's been very trick or treat. And today it was very much a trick.
It was both. He got them in. He kept them in the game for a lot of the middle of the game. So it's been Russell Westbrook giveth, Russell Westbrook taketh away for sure. But man, he took it away at the end. But it's only one missed layup though. But they wouldn't have even been in the game.
Well, it was 2, but also you can't take away in the third quarter. Like, can you start giving in the fourth and taking away in the third? It always feels like the Russell Westbrook mistake is going to happen under a minute left. in the fourth quarter. And they had an opportunity, right? Because the Clippers were about to pull a Clipper and they were about to choke this game away. And, Russ goes down, misses a layup in transition, comes down the other way, Norman Powell 3, 5-point swing. And then the game is all of a sudden like a big two possession game. And it goes from there. But I think like going back into Denver, yes, they have the altitude. Yes, you're going to be at home. We've seen the Clippers be able to execute there. I feel very weird being like they're still going to do it, knowing that we may have another James Harden stinker in Game 7 on the road. But I have to go with what I've seen, and so I just think that they've been more consistent.
Also, the Denver is not a normal away game. That's the best home court advantage in the league. So
when does that matter? When does that matter? Because we
just talked about Norman Powell being incapable of playing well in Denver.
But like,
you can't breathe up there, bro.
Lose, stop it.
That's what it matters. That's exactly what it matters. When Norman Powell can't play.
When they lose, nobody talks about the altitude, and then as soon as they win a game, it's like, oh yeah, the altitude got to people. Like it's like people are very pick and choosy about the altitude.
Yeah, no one's saying the altitude decides the game. No one's gonna say every game has to fucking directly correlate. But just Game 7 is a high pressure environment. That's a great home crowd. It's a great home court advantage. That like. If home court is ever going to mean anything, it's 1, playing against Nikola Jokic, and 2, playing in Denver against Nikola Jokic.
And for that reason right there, me personally, I'm going to lean towards the Denver Nuggets winning this Game 7.
Yeah, I don't know. I picked the Nuggets. I said Nuggets, then Celtics. I picked the Clippers beforehand. Yeah. That's how you know we're podcasting at midnight. I'm fucking tired. I picked the Clippers beforehand. I'll stand on it. I agree they've been a better team, but I still don't feel confident in it the same way I did beforehand. Same. This shit is such a flip of a coin. Like
I'm flip-flopping like a motherfucker
these
right
games
now.
Come down to these games keep coming down to their final plays that like who fucking knows? It really comes down to who hits like their 3 layups in the final minutes that decide things. Either way, best series of the playoffs, bar none. This is perfect. It's what you want from a 4-5 series.
Who do they play next after this? OKC?
OKC.
Who's been off for a week and a half now?
I think OKC hands a swift ass whooping to the Clippers in 5, and probably the Nuggets in 6 because they have Jokic, and that's a big advantage against Chet and Diehart. So, damn. Either way it goes, ass whooping coming, belt coming next round. But hey, somebody will be able to say they want a hard fought first round series. It'll be great. Somebody will have the same chip on their shoulder that the New York Knicks will have, saying we won in the first round. Well, sure, we got bulldozed in the second round, but we won in the first. We didn't go out that sad. We only went out kind of sad.
Congratulations.
I mean, yeah, congratulations! Like you won a series. Some people would, arguably the GOAT and Luka Doncic couldn't.
We put Asar Thompson in a straight jacket.
They couldn't get
we
that
put
done.
Asar in a straight jacket.
they couldn't get that done. So some people got pieced up by.
Could you imagine the horrors that Anthony Edwards would do to Karl Anthony Towns? Oh my God, body bag.
Some people let Julius Randle have a legacy series against him.
The body bag.
Oh,
I need JJ Redick to get on like the mindfulness app. He looks stressed. Like he has aged at least 8 years. Like it's like watching the presidency. Like he has gray hairs and everything. It's crazy.
It's almost gonna look like Tibbs pretty soon.
It's wild. he's already old.
Running up with each other.
He's already old.
Tibbs been looking at the unemployment line in the fucking newspaper, looking at the classifieds.
He knows his time is coming.
He's been there for weeks.
That's your mic is calling out to JJ. Get back in the studio, buddy.
Tibbs gonna start looking at places in Florida. Tallahassee, here I come.
Oh man.
I'm gonna ask JJ Redick a simple question. He's gonna try to backhand me. So I'm sorry. I asked about rotation, JJ.
Are you fucking dumb?
My bad.
With that being said, that's every playoff series we had today. Live reaction to the 2 tonight. I think it's TikTok time.
Cron Eaters. Assemble!
Welcome to TikTok time. Today, we're once again going to begin with the draft, and we're once again going to begin with a team-related draft. We've been going through all the teams lately. Today, we're going to land on the Dallas Mavericks. We're going to draft only players that played for the Dallas Mavericks. And I see you guys comment this all the time. I'm finally going to give you your way. You guys have been begging us. I don't know if you guys all want this or if it's a vocal minority, but a lot of you guys want us to do these drafts with only the specific version of players that played for those teams, not any player that played for them. You get the prime version. You guys want us to do specific years of those teams. So we're going to do that. We're changing up the format of these team-related drafts.
Okay.
Yeah, man. I hope you guys are ready to get deep in your bag because this is not a deep draft pool.
I am third pick, and I am also screwed again.
Yeah, well, you had first pick last time, so you got an automatic win last time.
Tragic.
Yeah. So draft order is Donovan, me, Mo. Only players play for the Dallas Mavericks. Donovan, where are we going with the first pick in the Mavs draft?
We are going with 2007 Dirk Nowitzki.
Okay.
MVP Dirk Nowitzki.
At
fair.
fair.
The 4.
Fair. There's only 2 players for you to pick. I understand the one you picked. Give me Luka Doncic. 2024. We'll get made the finals.
Most recent.
Damn near as good as Dirk to me.
Now here's the steep drop off.
Now you are screwed.
Damn. Fuck. Shit. Damn, bro. Okay.
Come on now.
Come on.
I know. Fuck. I'm so sick right now. This is literally the worst draft I have the third pick into. So I don't have to do this, but I want this guy on my team because he will help raise the ceiling. You picked someone who's defensively flawed. You did also as well. So I'm gonna do the same thing. At my point guard, actually, I'm not gonna do that. I'm gonna save it. Give me Jason Kidd.
Okay. You want the old man Jason Kidd?
Old man Jason Kidd.
Your team ran by a wily vet.
Old man Jason Kidd. He's not a liability whatsoever.
Okay. You get back-to-back picks?
And at my 2 guard, give me Kyrie Irving.
Fuck. I was already about to do that. I was praying I compare him with his real-life partner. Okay, listen. I got Luka Doncic. I need some help on the back end. Give me Tyson Chandler at my center.
That's tough.
I need the big bruiser. I can't let you pair Dirk with him.
Okay.
That's tough. All right. Well, in that case, I would like to take Steve Nash as my point guard.
Okay, but you got like young Steve Nash. It wasn't like
it's okay. He could still do some stuff.
There are flashes.
He can still do some stuff, and it's one of the better.
He wasn't MVP, but he was solid.
It's one of the better options.
Okay.
At point guard, and because I have Nash, offensive slanted, Dirk, offensive slanted, need somebody who can play defense. I would like Sean Marion.
Dude, I was about to do that. We picked Sean Marion in every draft. He played for everybody.
Exactly.
I swear to God, I had him on my list too, bro. My list is short.
I would like Sean Marion at my 3.
Ooh, who am I going to go next? What am I blanking? You know, I guess. Hey, throwback. Give me Rolando Blackman at my small forward.
Ooh, old school bucket.
Yep.
His eyes just got so big.
Yep.
Ooh,
Give me
okay.
Rolando Blackman.
Okay.
Why'd you emphasize his name like that?
Yeah. You got a little
He said,
bit too
"Give me
excited.
Black man.
That's not what I
Too
meant.
excited. Watch your tone there, buddy.
Oh my God, shut up.
You got a cry here right now. Beat you over there with it. All right. At my center, give me Anthony Davis. I'm surprised that he fell this far.
Yeah, you got like 20 games of Anthony Davis. Yeah,
Give me 20 games of
counts.
Anthony Davis. Did you see how he played during those
It
20
counts.
games? Monsters.
I did forget about AD. You got that.
Actually, sorry. Put him at my 4. Put him at my 4.
Whatever.
Yeah.
Shit.
He's so irritated.
We let that one go by us.
I know. Okay. And then, so I got Kid
Damn, my
Kyrie.
team would be so nasty.
I know. I've risen again. I feel new powers coming towards me right now.
Fuck.
Look at the disappointment
That's tough.
in his face. Okay, so at my 5, I want.
Fuck.
Stop. At my 5, give me Derek Lively. Him alongside AD is a great fit. We've seen it before. Kyrie, Jason Tatum.
I'm going to throw up.
Jason Kidd.
You know who
Ooh,
else you forgot about that I compare with Tyson Chandler? Give me Kristaps Porzingis at my power forward.
Nice.
We're going big. I got spacing.
I have no center. I have no center. What are we going to do?
I got Tingus Pingus.
What are we going to do? At my 2, this really, really sucks. I have no idea where I'm going to go, but I need just a little bit more defense.
You do.
So give me LeBron stopper extraordinaire. Give me Deshaun Stevenson.
Oh, okay. Okay.
Ew.
That's not what I heard.
I'll never forgive him what he did to LeBron and how he put his name on that damn t-shirt.
First of all, I'm not picking the other guy. I don't like the other guy.
The other guy.
Who's the other guy?
We'll talk later. I don't like him.
Okay.
I don't like him. Dude, I'm actually really blanking because I have no idea.
At your center?
Yeah.
Hey, Daniel Gafford, welcome home.
I was really hoping that life
Yeah.
would fall to me. I was like, okay, we're fine here. Yeah, Daniel Gafford, welcome to the team.
Oh my gosh.
That's a crazy pick, but okay.
I'm blanking right now.
You can have him. At my 2 guard, fuck it. Give me Michael Finley. Give me another 2000s bucket. Give me Michael Finley at my 2 guard.
Nice old school.
Oh, that's not
bucket.
who I thought you were gonna pick.
You also pick Jason Terry?
Yeah, he can never play for my team.
Yeah, I didn't want him.
Wait, what?
I
Never
don't
mind.
like
I'm
Jason
uninformed. Okay.
He just hates Jason Terry just out of like childhood hatred.
Yeah,
He's
okay.
not a bad guy. He just hates Jason
Listen,
Terry.
back
don't
when
like
I was
airplanes?
when I was a young lad, right,
Yeah.
and still a LeBron fan, Jason Terry was part of the team that knocked LeBron down and was talking crazy mess. I have held on to that hate for my
I respect this
entire adult life.
motherfucker. I love this guy. But I don't love him nearly as much as I love Vince Carter. Put him at my 3.
You got old man Vince Carter.
He was still actually useful.
You're letting that one game winner.
He
drive
was
your
useful.
judgment?
I need that shot.
You got old man Vince Carter and old man Jason Kidd. You're a geriatric ass team.
Bro, and I got AD and Kyrie holding it down.
You got 80 with a
alongside
bad
Kyrie.
back? Oh,
Get
God.
the fuck out of here. I know you're not talking about bad back while you got Kristaps Porzingis holding shit down for you.
That's a lot better than your old man duo.
Get the fuck out of here. My team turned you guys into mush. At the 1,
You're the worst
I
team
got
together,
Jason
right?
Kidd. I do not. That's
Yes,
such
you
a
do.
gap.
You definitely
At
have
the
the
1,
worst
I have
team.
Jason Kidd. 2, Kyrie. 3,
Jason Kidd was
Vince Carter.
38 years old
and he won a championship.
because of Dirk. What are you talking about?
He was
3,
the
Vince
4th
Carter.
best player on that team.
4, I got AD, and
You
5,
have
Derek
two
Lively.
38-year-olds in your starting lineup.
And they're some of the best 38-year-olds that the league has ever seen.
No, they're not.
Yes, they are.
Let's make
For
this
their
clear,
time.
chat. We're going off specific year. If this was
That's
best,
not even 2011 Vince Carter.
Which one is
That's
it?
like
I think it's-
2013.
No, what? No. What's it? Is it
He was not
2013?
on the team in 2011.
He
He
wasn't.
wasn't on the championship team.
that was not a good pick. You can't. It was not a good pick.
My team still mushes your team.
He was not. on
no,
the
I have
championship team.
Luka Doncic, Tyson Chandler, Rolando Blackman. What are you talking about?
Bro, no one's rocks with
Yeah,
your team.
I have Steve Nash at my point guard, Deshaun Stevenson at my 2, Sean Marion at my 3, 2007 MVP Dirk at power forward, and Daniel Gafford.
Daniel Gafford.
At 35, Vince Carter was putting up a smooth 10 points per game,
Sick.
shooting 35% from the 36%.
Nice
from
and
the three-point line.
average. Lovely.
Exactly, that's all I need.
You
I
got
don't
an
need him to do
average
too
3
much.
who can't defend anymore.
The-
He
And
never
then the
played
next
more
year-
than 25 minutes a game.
He
Sorry,
cannot
excuse
defend.
me, my bad, bro. He shot 40. He was a 6th man of the year candidate the very next following year.
No,
I should
not
say that
the
year.
not the year you got him though.
6
No,
man
I
of
got
the
him that
year
year.
on the ballot.
Yeah, exactly.
He was 6th in voting. That was his best. He was 6th and 14th
He
on the
thought that
ballot.
was the smoking gun. He thought he locked it
My
up.
team definitely washes you.
You got the
guys,
worst player on
absolutely.
this list.
What are you talking about? Washes.
Your
Yeah,
team
it
is not
washes you
good.
guys.
What are you talking about?
My
You
team
have
is
you
good.
have a 38-year-old, a 35-year-old, somebody who tore their ACL
35-year-old.
today. Somebody who tore their ACL this
That's
year.
the- I'm not talking about ACL Kyrie. This is before that.
And another player who got hurt in his first half of playing for the team.
You actually have the worst play. You have Daniel Gafford starting for you right now. You know that?
He has Dirk and Nash.
And
Who
Sean
has
Marion.
the worst player here?
Vince Carter.
Oh hell no! We not finna
I
disrespect
mean, it's him or Daniel Gafford.
35-year-old Vince Carter. Let's not do this.
It's Vince Carter or Daniel Gafford. So like tomato. I guess you guys are similar. He has Dirk and Steve Nash.
Mr. Ronaldo, black man.
That's an all-star.
I know what you.
You're showing your youth, man.
No. I'm
I
not
got-
saying.
I got
Just the
Luka
way he
Doncic.
said it was crazy.
I got Luka Doncic, Michael Finley, Rolando Blackman, Kristaps Porzingis, and Tyson Chandler.
Oh man.
Yeah, you lost.
Nah, buddy,
lost.
I won.
If you'd have been PJ Washington, I would have been with you. That would have been smooth.
I need a more veteran presence on my team, bro.
No, you
I
don't.
want
You
no
have a
young guys.
38-year-old point guard. You don't need more veteran presence.
I already got one young guy. I'm already straight on that.
80% of your roster is 30 years and older. You have enough experience.
Well experienced.
You have enough vet presence.
Run me on 2K in this and see what happens to you.
We're smoking you.
You're not smoking shit.
This team is not. Your team is ass on 2K too. Anthony Davis is not amazing on 2K.
ass on 2K.
Yeah.
You don't know how to use him on 2K. That's what it is.
Wait till I get you with Luka Doncic with some 5-out spacing, pick and roll, Tyson Chandler, Kristaps Porzingis in the corner. You're getting smoked.
Shiver me timbers. I'm so terrified.
Yeah, he lost.
Yeah, right.
Next thing we're gonna do, we're gonna do a tier list, and this is not gonna be a tier list. Have anything to do with ability, anything to do with merit, anything to do with accolades. This is gonna be a tier list purely off of humor.
Okay.
I have the funniest players in NBA history, and I want you guys to help me put them into a tier list based on how funny they are.
Okay.
So we got to gauge, some people are funny on the court. Some people are funny in the media. Some people are funny in many different ways, many different assets to their humor. S through F. First off, let's start with a good bench line. Bench line, that's not benchmark. Shaquille O'Neal.
See, this is very weird because peak Shaq was very funny.
He's hilarious.
Yeah.
But his last 5 to 10,
Not great.
Maybe
been
we should
awful.
just keep this to peak though.
He's running back the hits every time now. He's really, really running these bits into the ground.
and not even his bits. He's trying to throw lobs to other people to keep the bit going.
Terrible passes.
But we should do peak for peak though. At his
Yeah.
peak, Shaq is one of the funniest players of all time.
Okay, we'll go S for Shaq.
Shaq has a case for the humor GOAT. Now, whether that humor is moral is to be determined. but to each their own. I'm not saying it's humor everybody should be looking to replicate. But he was funny.
It's humor that can only fly when you're 7'2", 300 pounds.
And also the best player in the
When
world.
you can't do nothing about it. Yeah,
Yeah.
exactly.
When no one can check you, he's hilarious. Okay. Lance Stevenson.
Lance is a different type of funny, a generational type of funny, and also,
Generational?
yeah,
How many Lance
he's-
Stevensons pop up in the league these days?
I'm just saying,
You just don't see it.
He has the it factor.
high peak, short time frame.
But that time
It was a
frame
generational
was
run for those
crazy,
3.5
though.
years in which he was the funniest man on the planet.
I think he belongs in A or B.
Blowing
tier.
in LeBron's ear is like the 2019 ring for Kawhi.
Exactly. Like you will never.
That's
see
Damian
something
Lillard
like that
shooting
happen
over
again.
Paul George.
He did blow in another man's ear.
Yeah, we never see that type of defensive strategy
A tier.
ever before.
A
We
tier, I
never
don't
see
care.
it again.
I'll go A tier.
A tier.
A said A or B. I'm cool with A.
Yeah, this is an A tier funny guy. Let's shift to a different type of funny. Blake Griffin.
See, now
He's actually a comedian.
that's what I'm saying. He does stand up. He does this.
Yeah, but he does stand up. He's not like
I mean, he's not
a stand up.
He's not Dave Chappelle, but
Yeah,
like,
Of course.
but he be out here.
he's like family friendly funny. Like he's funny on screen. Like he can do in a lot of variety of mediums.
And you know what?
I think he.
That's needed. That's needed. Somebody needs to entertain the family. Blake Griffin does it.
Every
Yes.
audience must be spoken to.
It does. It does. Blake Griffin, honestly, A tier.
What? I think A's entirely too high.
A or B. Lance Stevenson's it factor is really special.
He can't. I don't think he can touch A.
Lance Stevenson's bag is limited, but he's the best at his bag. He's like Kyle Korver. He is the
You
best.
could put Blake Griffin in a movie, he'd be funny.
No, Blake is versatile.
That's what I'm saying.
Are we going towards a specialist of goofball funny in Lance Stevenson, who's the funniest goofball I've ever seen?
Yes.
Or Blake, who could do a little bit of everything and thrive in a lot of different
Yo,
areas?
Lance
The
Stevenson.
scalability. The
He's so
scalability.
scalable. He's
Who's
crazy
most likely
scalable.
to be a meme at the end of the day? Blake or Lance is gonna be Lance.
Blake
10 times out of
can
10.
contribute to any winning funny team. Lance Stevenson can take you to a championship.
He's scalable. He's portable. You can put him anywhere. Blake Griffin deserves to be an A.
I can't put him in
He
A.
also has some. He has some memes, right?
And we're buying in early. He's about to be on TV full time. He's about to skyrocket. So we're really buying in low. He's gonna take us to the moon if we really put our chips in
We
the right
might
basket.
have to
Let's
move
get
some
in
things
early.
around if you want to put him in A, but sounds like I'm outvoted.
We'll go A for now. I'm fine with that. Blake Griffin's hilarious. But keep in mind, all these guys are funny. So like, you gotta show some judgment pretty soon.
Don't get too comfortable, Blake.
Jimmy Butler,
Oh,
quite the humorous guy,
hilarious.
king of physical comedy. He's the most physical comedy guy in the NBA. Got the goth looks, the coming in with the weave.
One of the most creative, funniest guys in the NBA.
He loves a good bit. and he
Inspirational,
commits.
might I say.
I like that. However, is Jimmy Butler funny or is he just real? You know, I think like that might be the difference. He might just be himself. And while that may be a funny guy, I don't know if you could put him at S or A.
Okay.
I do love the commitment to the bit because that separates a lot of people. Not a lot of people want to cross the line to keep the bit going and to really dedicate
But is it
themselves
really
to
a
the role.
bit or is it just really him?
I don't know, but he is a method actor.
Yeah.
And so for that, you do want to give him props. But like you said, we need discernment in this tier list.
Yeah.
We need to start putting some people with BC. I'm thinking B for Jimmy Butler.
Jimmy Butler gives you a 30 a lot. He's not out here scoring 60-point games. He's not out here winning MVPs. He's consistent. He's reliable. He will be a contributor. The highs aren't quite there, though. I'm cool with C.
C. Okay.
Or B. Again, I'm trying to show
I think
discernment.
B. I think B is fair for Jimmy Butler.
I think there's a lot of people above him that will be in between some of the guys we've seen so far. I don't think C is out of the question.
Okay, he can be potentially movable, but C's a okay.
We'll start
place.
with C. We'll see how it shakes
Yeah.
out and we'll revisit.
We're gonna reshake so much shit. It's
Okay,
hilarious.
here's one. Draymond Green.
A or S.
Draymond
Sorry,
Green is way funnier than Jimmy Butler.
S tier. He's funnier for the worst reasons imaginable.
You got to keep in mind, like some people are going to see this and be like, F tier, fuck him. But I'm like, That's why he's funny. He elicits that reaction. He is hilarious. He is the worst. I'll say that. He's also the worst, but he's hilarious in being so bad. He's so funny.
How do we parse laughing with you and laughing at you?
I don't think anybody's laughing at him. We're laughing in spite of how much we hate him.
When he starts shanking
I'm
in the
laughing
air,
at him.
you don't think we're laughing at him?
When he sets there's literally a highlight reel of him sticking his fingers in not one MVP, two MVP, but 3 different MVP level players' eyes, bro.
His fingers inside of MVPs?
Jokic, LeBron, and James Harden. He did that
I'm
in
sorry.
the highest stakes of the game.
If you could look me in the
Draymond.
eyes and say he's sticking fingers inside of people, he's S tier.
That's crazy. That's crazy.
But we can go A tier.
S tier.
Again,
Fuck that S tier.
I just want to say for the record, we are laughing at him, not with him. And so I don't know how to parse that because some of these other guys, we're laughing with them.
So maybe there has to be a certain universal acceptance to hit S tier. Maybe he's A tier then.
Man, he just fed us too much content that we've laughed at before.
So maybe he's just so transcendent at playing his role that he can go to S tier.
So is that
I think
what
it's
it
S
is?
tier.
No one's ever been the butt quite like he's been the butt.
It's ultimately just about the body of work that you've put out.
Yes, and his body.
We're rating the discography. He's got a few classics in there.
The
he
illegal
does.
screens, you even tap into that. There's a whole
the flops?
library of content that he's given
Bro,
us.
the simple amount of dick kicks he has are hilarious. Like it's a hilarious thing to have that
Kicks,
many.
stabbing,
we'll go
putting
S
Rudy
tier.
Gobert in a chokehold. Watch next
Yeah.
week if they end up playing or when they play probably the Minnesota Timberwolves. Cinema.
Okay, I'll say this. Because we're doing that, I do think we have to drop Blake Griffin down to B.
I agree with you.
Why?
I think the body of work that Draymond has shown and even the body of work that Lance has, Blake, you see the potential and you know that he can do it, but he only has 2 albums where these other guys have like 4 or 5.
I think you're underestimating Blake's impact to the game, though.
Yo,
I know, but that
Blake, the podcaster, has left his mark.
yes, but that's podcast. We're
but that's
talking about what you
that's
did
off
in
of two
the
things.
court
No,
too.
we're
like
talking
in
about
your prime
everything.
days.
We're talking
We're
about 2 albums.
We're giving Shaq credit for the TV career. Everything matters. These are funny guys. These aren't players. They're multifaceted. I want you to give respect to the duality of
Shaq
man.
is different though because I learned something new about Shaq every other day. Like just the
I can
last
te-
time we
I can-
talked about him,
I can teach you some shit about Blake Griffin.
I learned that Shaq walked around the locker room backwards, bro. Naked. Like I learned something new about him.
He walked around backwards.
Yes, something new about Shaq.
I'm not comparing Blake to Shaq. I'm not saying you should be S tier.
But I'm just saying to Lance, Blake might have to be B.
Yeah, Blake. Just the body of work just is not there.
What happened to
just yet.
scalability? What happened to respecting the versatility of Blake?
I just
fine.
need to see it a little.
B's
a little
not
more, I
bad.
guess.
You guys are so stupid. Charles Barkley,
S tier.
Easy.
funniest guy in NBA history.
Yeah.
Potentially. He's on the Mount Rushmore.
Who competes? I feel like it's easily. He is way funnier than Shaq.
Oh,
There's somebody on this list.
Okay, we'll see. We'll see.
There's
I don't
somebody
know.
on this list.
I don't know
Charles
who that
was
is.
funny on the court, funny in quotes, funnier on TV, funny in commercials. Triple Crown. He does it all.
Yes. So he's S.
Dude, he's funny in real life. He tried to kick me out of a TNT party like 2 years ago.
Oh, we have a funny Charles Barkley story. I guess we can't tell it. How do we tell this story?
Don't tell it. Next.
I'm trying to think of a way to phrase it. Can we tell the story? It's so funny. Why not?
Next player.
But it's so good.
You know exactly why.
Next
I
player.
mean, I'm not gonna use any names.
Yeah.
Just know we have met Charles Barkley, and Mo had a hilarious interaction with him that involved other people. Anthony Edwards.
He's getting up there. But also another question, is he funny or is he just real?
No, he's
I think his
funny.
realness is the funniest shit in the world.
Yeah.
He is 1,000% real, and he's funny as fuck for it. He doesn't even try. The effortlessness of his comedy peak.
It's just him. Bare minimum, he's reached A tier category. Bare minimum.
I'll say that. Yeah. He's only been in the league for a couple years. So we're still building the portfolio. But you see the talent is there. You see how high the highs can get. A tier is good right now.
He shot that bitch from Yucatan. Only a real comedian would say that. Only the funniest guy in the world would say that.
I guarantee you he didn't even know Yucatan was a real place before saying that.
He just said some shit.
Exactly.
And it works.
And it landed.
Effortlessly.
I feel great about him being he's a true A tier player right here.
Yeah.
Jeff Teague, the historian, the rookie of the year to the podcasting game, has thrust himself into the comedy limelight.
Listen,
It's tough.
I don't know if it could be overstated, but I think I think Jeff Teague might be rookie of the year and the MVP in the same year.
Mm-hmm.
I think the run that Jeff Teague has been on in the last year, one of the funniest runs that we've seen. Every story, he has a story for every situation. Every one of them, regardless if he is in a good light or a bad light, it's been told.
Yeah.
And the punchline hits every single time.
And he's real. His realness is funny, just like Anthony Edwards. This is an A-tier guy.
Yeah.
Again, generational shit right here from Jeff Teague. I agree.
His career is off to an amazing start.
Yeah.
Again, we need a couple more albums, but it's getting there.
Mm-hmm.
Giannis. How do the dad jokes move you?
Put him in F.
D tier.
F?
Put him in F or D.
No, I'm putting him in D tier. I think Giannis thinks he's funny, but I don't think everybody else sees him as that. However,
He's the Elon Musk of NBA humor.
However, there have been some Giannis crash outs that we've seen that have been hilarious.
Him fighting over the ladder and shit last year.
Him and Oscar Tshiebwe fighting over the ball. That's hilarious. So he's funny in like you're being stupid way, not like your jokes are funny way.
Yeah.
Did you see the way he held Benedict Mathern's neck the other day?
Yeah.
You're not my fault.
It's Tony Soprano.
Why are you holding my neck like that?
How he's towering over Tyrese Halliburton's dad. Looks like he's about to decimate him. He looks like a goddamn transformer in that picture too.
So he's a goofball funny, no self-awareness, but his jokes don't land.
Yeah.
D tier?
D.
Damn, this is the most insulting placement I can imagine on this list. Yeah. Josh Hart, another podcasting specialist, showcasing his humor.
I think he could be solid B.
Got some famous GIFs.
Some famous tweets.
Yeah.
Some milk-related tweets.
He is a milkman. He's actually not a milkman, but he is.
Yeah.
Shout out. But
Duality.
I think he belongs in B, same tier as Blake Griffin. When it comes
I don't know though.
I think it's C.
I'm thinking C. He's building his portfolio right now. Now he is kind of versatile because he has funny memes on the court. He has funny stuff off the court as well.
Hilarious stuff off the court.
So you do have that balance.
Here's the thing, though. We're looking at a guy who is part of a dynamic duo, and we're looking at him without his twin. Him and Jalen Brunson, that's a special combination. Funny duos list, A tier.
But it's clear as day, though. He is the face of that duo.
Yeah. Everyone has their yin and yang, though. Everyone has their dynamics. Everyone needs the other person. This is Draymond and Steph Curry. They get the best out of each other. As a solo entity, I think C's fine.
That's fair.
Okay. I feel good about C.
Every goofball needs a straight man to play off of. Ron Artest.
Ron's not funny. He's just scary. Like,
and it's not even like goofy scary too. It's like, oh, he might kill a man on the court.
Yeah, like he'll make you laugh, but it's a very tentative like.
Yeah,
you're laughing, so you're not next on the hit list.
Yeah, exactly.
I'm going F.
You're laughing at a self-preservation.
I'm going F for Ron Artest.
He belongs in F. He belongs in F.
Actually, no. We'll go D.
Why D?
Bro, he's he named himself the Panda's friend, and you're gonna look in the face and say he's not funny?
That's
just goofy. It's not funny at all.
And so now we're above laughing at goof shit. Now we're too cool to laugh at goofiness?
That was
in terms of this list right here. Yeah.
He was on a journey of self-discovery. And that's very near and dear to his heart. So I'm gonna go D. Because also I'm saving F for somebody else on this list. So.
Okay. Kevin Garnett, the meanest man in NBA history.
Off of intensity alone, A tier.
Another guy who he got off the court, picked up a mic, and he just spewed the funniest things you've ever heard for years on end.
It's the intensity in which he lives his life is so comical because it's like, how can you be this hyped up all the time?
And I think I hit him with lateral movement. That's the 2011 Dirk ring. That's one of the funniest things I've ever heard in my life. That low-key S tier.
Between that and him mispronouncing equivalent.
Forget about
you got
that.
it. You got
he's
it.
S tier for sure.
You got to run.
He's hilarious.
Man. All types of funny.
Richard Jefferson.
Listen, Richard Jefferson, pioneer. A lot of the funny guys in the league, they don't know how to translate to the new generation of funny. Richard Jefferson has made that crossover insane.
Multi-generational humor, okay.
Multi-generational, multi-platform. He's funny in the studio. He's funny online. There's a lot of stuff that you can point to and say his game is like that. I think because of the generations and because of his body of work, he's put out a lot of albums in a short amount of time. I'm going S tier for Richard.
Oh, S tier.
I don't know about S tier. I think it was a little bit too much.
I was thinking B.
Yeah, I think B is. I was going to say B as well.
Those videos on TikTok where like they'll play the clip and then it's just like the big boom where it's like right after it. You can have so many of those with Richard Jefferson moments.
I think B tier is fair. I think he does have the
surprise.
ceiling of the guys above him, but the consistency, the multi-generational, the longevity.
Yeah.
B tier feels good to me.
Exactly. You can't show me another 50 or 45-year-old or however old he is on TikTok doing this thing consistently.
50, goddamn.
Yeah,
He is not 50.
45, whatever.
That man
it is.
might be 42. Maybe. He's not that old.
Official guess right now. How old do you think Richard Jefferson is?
44, actually, because I
Damn.
forgot he played some years in college. He wasn't a one.
45.
45?
44.
He is 44.
I know everything. Vernon Maxwell.
It can't be S or A though. It can't be because his type of funny is very limited.
It's very niche.
Yeah,
It
he is only a home player. He can't convert his skill set to any other area.
But
He's
listen,
a
man.
specialist now. He's a 3-point specialist. That's what he is.
But listen, man, if you hate Utah, like I hate Utah, funniest guy in the world. For the Utah haters, he is the best.
His
He
game
just
isn't
versatile. It just relies on tweets. That's it.
Some people are funny on Twitter. What's your point?
Nah, it's not even that. It's so
Utah based?
yeah. Yeah.
It's one dimensional.
Once we get into the playoffs and I'm able to game plan for you and I can take away your strength
That's
and
the
limit
thing.
them
Once
down.
I nuke Utah, you have no more.
Put
no
him in
more
a
jokes
room
left.
full of all these guys. He's probably on mute the most.
Oh, I think
for the sake
No,
he
no,
doesn't
no.
have.
You
much.
have a bad read
I
of him.
disagree with that. However, I will say you put him in the Eastern Conference. How does he fare? Right? He's a Western Conference kind of player, especially with the Utah stuff. But his stories, and because he does talk about stuff other than
Other
Utah,
half, yeah.
Yeah.
and the hit rate is pretty high.
Was
but
everything in C?
I'm going B.
Okay. He's quite funny.
Yeah.
LeBron James.
S.
This is what I was saying. If there's anybody who's gonna make an argument, a fight for the funniest NBA player of all time, it's LeBron James.
Yabba dabba doo, Old Navy.
Him versus Charles Barkley, I think is 1-2 in terms
Yep.
of funniest NBA players of all time.
Damn, Bart,
Totally
my
different
bad.
styles. It's clash of styles. It's jokes versus whatever we call LeBron, his lack of self-awareness. That's hilarious. Whatever the differences are in skill sets, they are both equally impactful.
One of the greatest of all time on and off the court. Put him in S. No surprise here.
Bro, he put on Wendell Carter Jr.'s glasses. His goggles on the court.
Why would I do that?
This is an S tier
Yeah.
human. Hilarious.
He said, first of all, happy International Women's Day.
Have we thought about putting out the album and afterwards giving some more and saying, here go two more. I want to thank you for going on this ride with me. Here go two more for you.
Yeah, that's my goat, man. That's my goat, man.
He invented the deluxe album. He is a comedic genius.
And even at 41, he's still putting out hits. The video from the other day, flopping, looking up, 10 out of 10.
Here go two more for you.
Man. Stories on stories on stories. Put him in S.
I want to thank you for going on this ride with me. Here go two more for you. Patrick Beverly.
F tier.
F.
F tier. Nah.
Damn.
Well, hold on.
No, because you
That
try too
moment-
hard, and that's your problem.
No,
That's your
that
problem.
moment though, where he was up against during his Lakers days when he was
That
up
is true.
against
With the camera?
the Boston Celtics and put up a fucking camera and put it towards the ref too. Hilarious.
You're not even talking about the funniest moment when he won a playing game and jumped up on the scoring table. And went, "Ah!"
Brother, that's another one. He might have a catalog.
He has a catalog. He has some hits. He's like the artist that put out a lot of bullshit at the beginning of their career, a lot of bullshit in the back end of their career, but they caught a window, which they put out a couple classics when they have some Pretty Girls Love Trap music, a couple hits in there that are like, whoa, I didn't expect this coming after where you started.
First of all, you disrespecting 2 Chainz with that. I don't appreciate that.
Some unexpected hits. And you didn't
But it is true. So, yes, we have to go see.
Okay.
C's cool.
Gilbert
Because
Arenas.
what the hell was So Help Me God? Like, that was so
Oh my
bad.
gosh.
This man made his whole called quarantine thing. It was so.
Oh my
it was
God.
Oh my
disgusting.
gosh.
Quarantine thing is ridiculous.
Fastest primeless wax.
Gilbert Arenas, last name on this list.
He's not sniffing S or A. It's not. I don't think he's A tier.
This is a hard placement.
Yeah, his range is crazy.
It's quite funny. I don't have a good feel.
But what type?
But
He
sometimes,
said some like
sometimes-
wow. I think he reaches a lot of the times, dude.
Yeah, sometimes he gets a mic and he's saying a lot of jokes, rattling him off, and occasionally he'll just be like, also, I hate Europeans.
Yeah.
I think we kind of have to go C tier because some of the swings that he takes are just too big of swings, and you end up looking silly. You end up taking the swing and spinning around.
Yeah,
and it's like
yeah.
I can't have that in the bottom of the ninth, and you out here looking goofy.
And
swing
and he thinks he's cooking too. You're right. Me personally, that might be F tier. F tier is where you got to use it.
Yeah,
No,
like,
it's not
you
F
swing
tier.
for the fences. He makes contact, but instead of like clearing the fence, he like lands over in xenophobia, and you're like, fuck.
Yeah,
Swing and a miss.
You're crossing the line for me.
Fuck.
Buddy.
Yeah, this C tier works for me.
I think he's F, but
I don't know.
Nah, F is crazy.
And here's our tier list. Our funniest guys of all time, top 5. Let's move one down. Let's say it has to be Mount Rushmore. I think Draymond Green easily goes down then, right?
Yes.
what?
Actually,
No.
no. KG actually might have to go.
Okay, never mind. We're not moving anybody
No,
down.
I think Mount Rushmore.
The top 5.
Yeah,
Our
sorry.
5-man Mount Rushmore is Shaq, Charles Barkley, Draymond Green, Kevin Garnett, and
Who
LeBron.
is four? So it is between Draymond and KG 4-5.
I'm not demoting Kevin Garnett. Are you crazy?
It's tough.
Are you crazy?
It's tough.
That's a
That's a
Is it
real
tough?
conversation.
I'm just saying we're gonna keep all 5, but top 3 is definitely LeBron, Shaq, Chuck.
Yes.
4-5 is definitively
Yeah.
them two. Okay. Yeah, I think I would put KG in 5.
Not me.
The clip of Draymond falling on the ground, running up, sprinting full court just to tackle KPJ.
Yeah, for no reason.
I forgot about that.
Classic, bro.
That's elite.
He belongs in S tier. You try to
That's
demote
elite.
him? What are
Why
we
did he
talking
tackle
about right now? What are we
He's
talking
so
about?
stupid.
He's sprinting.
He's a ridiculous man.
He had no thoughts in his mind just to run. Bro's battery died.
Oh my God. That's ridiculous.
Yeah.
All right. Next thing we're going to do, let's pivot back over to talking about skill sets. A lot of trades are going to happen this summer. It's going to be a crazy year. A lot of teams are going to have to make some moves. I'm going to name an NBA player. I want you to tell me if their team should keep them or trade them.
Okay.
Who is on the chopping block?
Keep or trade. Let's do it.
Keep or trade. That's the only.
Sam Presti mode. Let's do it.
Yep. Cutthroat. First up, Austin Reeves.
Trade.
Damn. That was fast.
I love you. I love you so much, Austin Reeves. But his value is at an all-time high. Of course, the playoffs are the playoffs. But there's so many starving teams out there who will see him, see what he's under contract for, and be like, yo, he's a great addition. Could be the second option or third option to my team, and immediately raise our ceiling.
I'm
I
not
think
saying-
he's a
You make good points. However,
Yeah.
I disagree with all of them. Austin Reeves, as LeBron is getting older, you have to move into this new era built around Luka. Obviously, the Mavs took off when they were able to get Kyrie. You don't know who that's going to be yet. You need somebody like Austin Reeves who can give you 20 on a night in and night out basis. You have to keep him.
I think you can trade him if the right deal presents itself. He's not untouchable, but I'm not looking to, so I'll say keep. If I can like swap him for Jared Allen, I'll do it. But if it's like him for like some depth pieces, some role players, I'm just gonna keep him.
If it's for a star, he's so gone out of here.
Sure, but I'm not looking to keep. I'm not looking to trade him, so I'll keep him.
Okay.
I'm not gonna overreact to the playoff series.
Yeah.
Some people will. Some people will all summer. Next up, Giannis. Should the Bucks? Obviously, this comes down to will Giannis request a trade or not? TBD. If you're the Bucks, should you want him to? Should you want to rip the Band-Aid off and go into a new era?
Giannis, you want to trade? Come make me do it. I bet you won't make me do it. You won't make me sign those papers. You won't make me pick up those phone calls. You are playing for the Milwaukee Bucks over here. Enjoy your stay.
So you're gonna say, "Fuck you and your trade request. You're staying."
Brother, my picks belong to the New Orleans Pelicans for the next few years. You're staying here. You're not going nowhere.
Trade request, made request. You're staying put.
That's true. That's true.
Like, I'll do whatever to make you happy. Like,
No,
Thanasis,
no,
come here.
no,
Alex,
not even that.
Kostas, like,
you're
whatever.
gonna take this $65 million and you're gonna like it, and you're gonna play basketball in Milwaukee.
Exactly. Like,
Enjoy the cheese curds. Like that's what it's about.
Oh, you want to go to the West Coast over my dead body?
Yeah, exactly. You staying. Sorry, buddy.
Yeah, I mean, obviously, if you request a trade, it'll probably happen in practicality, but they're in such a tough spot. You basically gotta beg and plead and pray he doesn't want to request a trade.
Mm-hmm.
If it does happen, you are gonna be in a terrible situation. You're gonna have to figure out a rebuild on the fly with no picks. Good fucking luck.
It ain't happening, Giannis. Sorry.
It's over.
He's for sure gonna request a trade.
If I were him, I would 100% beg them to trade me too.
DeMontis Sabonis. Should the Kings restart?
Haven't they already restarted?
What are they doing? Restart into what? Restart what? Exactly.
A rebuild. Tank. Try to find your next superstar. Trade Sabonis while his value's high.
I'll say this: if they trade Domantas Sabonis, fans should revolt. And
Are you serious?
yes,
Do you think Kings fans will be upset by them not wanting to be mid and restarting, being smart?
We've been mid for 25 years.
It's time to fucking swing for the fences.
No. Either kill me or move the team. But I can't do.
Bro, why do you have to die?
I can't do another.
You don't have to die.
I can't
You want
do
to tank
another
for Cameron Boozer?
I can't do another
They
decade.
got some stars in the next draft.
Either you leave or I leave. But we both can't be here, and you try to do another rebuild.
Yo, Sabonis holds some weight when it comes to these fans, yo.
I think
You picked Marvin Bagley when you had a chance to take Luka. I've seen enough of your foolishness, and there's no amount of light in the beam that can make me happy enough to get this team.
So you're going to be happy with like 38, 39 wins and seeing DeMar DeRozan and Zach LaVine on your team continuously?
Listen, I told you, either leave or kill me.
I guess he's dead.
I think, what the fuck? You're talking like this is Damian Lillard on the Blazers. I think this team would be in a perfect situation to re-fucking start. Get some good assets for Domantas Sabonis. If anybody wants them, send them to the Atlanta Hawks. Or whoever else, wherever he fits. Get some picks. You need to rebuild. You have dug yourself a grave with the De'Aaron Fox trade. You have a lot of good players that don't work together. Tear this shit down to the studs. Be smart. Be proactive. I think it would be genius for them to get ahead of it and trade Sabonis before he asks.
Look at these numbers. 19, 14 rebounds, 6 assists, 41% from 3. What dummy's not going to fall for that?
Fantastic partner for Trae Young in the pick and roll.
All right, let's relax.
It'd be great. 41% from 3. He's a stretch big now.
Wrong dummy, buddy.
Ja Morant. Donovan. As the preemptive Ja Morant hater, what do you think they should do with him?
You're gone.
Ooh.
You're gone.
Do you think they should just, without telling him, Luka Doncic him, dead at night, trade him to Los Angeles? Not the Clippers. You know that one.
You were about to start.
Like, come on, man.
You should have seen the look in his eyes. He was like,
I don't want him a Luka Doncic, type shit.
Type.
yeah.
Yeah, no, you're gone.
He's going to wake up to a call at midnight. You or sir are on the Orlando Magic.
You're gone. You guys know my philosophy is that eventually you get to a point where you say, I can't live like this. And Ja Morant has provided so much inconsistency within my on-the-court play style and between my off-the-court overall vibes of the organization. I can't do this anymore.
Ja Morant for Franz Wagner. Who says no?
For Franz Wagner?
The Grizzlies do.
Tripping.
Yeah, I can't do that.
I don't know. That might be a good out.
No, it's a good out. I do think that they say no, though.
Okay.
Yeah, I'm trading Ja. Getting ahead of it.
But you put me in that office. Hey, man.
I'm probably keeping Ja and trying
You better
to
be on that teacup with Mickey. Like, you gone.
I'd probably keep Ja for at least one more year. I want to try and do like a Kevin Durant trade or something. Try to trade Desmond Bane and all my assets to get another guy there and give this core a chance. But it wouldn't be crazy to try to go a different route than the Ja Morant-led team. But I want to give him one more year and see if we can get a talent injection to pray he's healthy.
Yeah. If there is any hope, it is the fact that as soon as Taylor Jenkins was fired, you did start to see a little bit more of the Ja Morant that you wanted to see. But the problem is
a lot of it. He damn near averaged 30.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And you just don't know if it's going to be there. So
listen, man, they figured out the Thunder. They would have won. They would have beat him if he didn't get hurt. You heard the man.
That's one of the top 5 most ridiculous things we've heard.
Hey, fuck you. Fuck you. They figured it out.
5 years.
They figured it out. You heard the man.
That's top 5. Ishbia saying 26 other teams would like to be here. That's also top 5.
What's crazier? We figured them out or I'm good out west?
We figured them out.
We figured them out. I was so embarrassed.
You already lost.
Yeah. Like, what do you figure them out?
And you didn't play.
You just got blown by 40, like, in the first game. What do you mean you figured them out?
I feel the way he was like, we figured them out because we were going to win that one game. Congrats. That's how I feel when people were like, the Spurs would have beat the 17 Warriors because they were going to win game 1. Yeah, they were going to win game 1. Now do it 4 more times. That's how I feel about Ja Morant. Like, yeah, you would have got game 3.
Yeah.
Do it again.
Trading him.
Zion Williamson.
But you are gone. You are so out of here. Please leave.
No hesitation. Please leave.
Please leave.
No hesitation to trade one of the most talented players in the league. What if he gets healthy? What if he has a masterclass and fixes his body and finds a new motivation and becomes a top 10 player in the world?
Keep asking hypothetical questions.
See, this is a personal vendetta that he has against Zion Williamson, man. Me personally, I'm keeping him. What do I have to lose? Like, the West is a bloodbath right now. Go ahead, get healthy. Look at him right now. He looks ripped. Do you see those traps on him right now? I'm keeping him. Sorry. Keeping him.
He's keeping him because he thinks he's sexy. I'm keeping him because
keep that to yourself.
If I can get a player at this level that has this kind of peak, you're not getting adequate value for him. People don't value him like that. I would rather just roll the dice again, hope that he stays healthy. I know it's a big hope. You're the Pelicans. You're not going to walk into another superstar talent. You don't get him that easy. I'm not giving up on him until I absolutely have to.
Yeah, Khalil Mack can get out of here.
Oh, my God.
He's gone.
I'll never give up the dream. Jamal Murray. Now, I asked this because obviously they can trade Michael Porter Jr. to try and get better. Is there a world in which the right deal comes along, you would think about trading Jamal Murray?
See, you think about trading Jamal Murray, and then all of a sudden in Game 5, he goes and drops 40, and you're like, all right, well, I guess he's going to be here.
He's such a yo-yo player.
Yeah.
The regular season, he'll be just bad enough that you're like, maybe I should trade him. In the playoffs, he's just Michael Jordan-esque enough that you're like, oh, now I got to keep him.
Yeah.
Perpetual motion, he's going to be here forever.
You know he leads the Denver Nuggets franchise in 40-point games ever.
I'm
keeping him.
That does not surprise me.
It makes zero
Is
sense.
that for the playoffs?
Yeah, for the playoffs.
That does not surprise me.
Yeah, it makes zero sense, so I'm just keeping him, bro. I hate to do it, but I got to keep him.
Yeah, I feel like him and Jokic are just like bound together by blood for all of eternity.
Yeah, exactly.
You got to bury them in caskets next to each other.
True. Real friends.
Devin Booker.
Only if he asks for it. But if he doesn't, I'm keeping Devin Booker.
The situation's there. It's perfect. Houston Rockets, pick up that phone, please.
Exactly. Man, listen, man, I respect your stars. Be loyal. Your new owner. Don't disrespect the fans. If I can get my picks back and rebuild for real by sending him to the Rockets, sorry, Devin. I'm going against your wishes. I'm sending you to the Rockets.
Now that thinking right there, that's too logical for Matt.
No.
Facts. God forbid he make the right decision.
Man.
I'm trading him instantly. If the Rockets want him, anybody else, you might as well keep him.
I agree. Yeah, if the Rockets want him specifically so I can get my pits back, see you, Devin. I appreciate everything you did for me.
Yeah. But outside of the perfect situation, you're probably better off letting him just be the loyal star that stays there forever and let him be a team legend that comes to be the GM in 20 years or whatever.
Nah. Katie, you're gone.
Damn.
KD's super. I didn't even put KD.
He's
KD's
super
gone.
Exactly.
So,
exactly.
Yeah, we're assuming that happens.
You tell Bradley Beal, if you leave now, I'll give you 0.5% of the team when you retire. Please leave.
This is illegal.
You know how much money that is?
No, it's crazy.
Teams sell for like, what did the Celtics sell for? Like $6 billion?
$6 billion, yeah.
So 1% of that is $600 million or $60 million?
I don't know. Let me see.
Zero clue.
That's 7 zeros. 1%. I'm fucking with the math. How much is 1% of $6 million?
$6 billion times what? 1%?
0.01 times 0.01.
$60 million.
Jesus Christ.
I'm giving you an extra $30 million if you can leave.
In perpetuity. So that's stock. So in 20 years, it's going to be worth $60 million.
Disgusting.
Go. Leave.
Jalen Green.
They ain't trade him yet. I'll trade him yesterday if I could.
I'm not even trading him. I'm cutting him. Get off the team.
Calm down.
Get off the team.
So I put him here.
Fuck cutting him. I'm demoting him.
Oh, God.
I need a towel, boy.
So obviously, if you can trade him for a star in a package, you do that.
Give Reed Shepherd your shoes, man.
So obviously, if you trade him for a star, you would do that. Would you trade Jalen Green for like depth pieces just to get off the contract?
I would do that again.
I'm really I'm out of the Jalen Green experience. This was the year, and obviously it's a lot of pressure to put on somebody to say either have one good series or show up, but this is what everything has been building towards. You had one solid game to where we can look at you and be like, you are Mr. Bucket. That's what we need you to be. We need you to be Mr. Bucket, and you don't like to be Mr. Bucket all the time. So go somewhere else.
Tough.
I agree.
We're also, keep in mind, y'all, we're recording this on Thursday, May 1st. The first round is not over yet. They're down 3-2. If they came back and they won in 7 and he went crazy, point at him and laugh.
No, this is what he does. This is what he does.
That would be insane.
That'd be hilarious.
No, it would be crazy. He just jumped back-to-back 40 people.
Facts. Just fuck you, Donovan. Here's this for you. He does it in spite of you, dedicated to you.
All right.
Hey, Jalen Green.
And that's what it takes. Fuck it.
And
Keep
in
on
that
running it up,
case,
Donovan.
all of the city of Houston,
Thank you.
Oh, you.
thank me. Thank me. I did it for the hometown.
LaMelo Ball.
He's gone.
LaMelo Ball.
He's so gone.
Wait,
He is
why?
so gone. Out of everybody on this list, he is the most gone.
He wants to trade
What
the
did
whole
he
league.
do?
He is the most gone.
What did he do to be gone?
Donovan wants to trade his grandma at this point. He wants to trade everybody.
He is the most gone. Oh my goodness.
For what?
His ankles be broken.
Everything broken with that team. Their brains don't work up there.
Glass.
Do you?
I can't.
Everybody's brain don't work
So,
up
like,
there.
yeah,
They
I
might as well
understand.
keep him.
I can't.
I understand. He's so far away from being consistent for you, but like they're so far away from being anything serious. Why trade him at this point? Like, what's to be gained?
Like, you lose nothing. You're gonna be ass with or without him. Just keep him there. It looks sexier. You need butts in those seats, and right there, that tells me I'm thinking like a businessman right now.
Okay, Great Gatsby.
So I'll say, shut up.
I'm just thinking about X's and O's, man. I'm trying to keep this franchise alive.
What about the revenue share? What about the shareholder value? Fuck off. No, fuck it. Trade him. Get him out of here. You piss me off.
Fuck that. Keep him.
Get him out of my sight. Mr. Put butts in seats. Kristaps Porzingis.
I mean, if you want to, move like a broke boy, then sure, trade him. But like, you got like the Celtics are gonna in a 2-year span gonna win the title, probably be in the conference finals again. Keep him.
They're gonna be entering second apron hell pretty soon. They're gonna have to shed some salary. New owners probably aren't gonna want to put up with that. If you had to trade somebody, it's like him or Drew Holiday.
I'd rather trade Kristaps. Do you know what they get? They get back a lot for Kristaps Porzingis. So many teams are feeding for players like Kristaps.
Bro, with how desperate the Atlanta Magic are to get a stretch five,
they would give up.
If you trade Kristaps Porzingis, he's off your team. Al Horford is old.
Cool.
Who is your big?
Neemias Queta.
You'll find.
Remember the fucking name.
Now I believe in him, but come on.
Yeah, exactly.
Come on. Yeah, if anybody were to go, it would be Drew Holiday.
Mm-hmm. I don't know. This is gonna be a tough one.
Nah, I think
it's a tough market.
It might be Porzingis. Simply for the sake of he has the most value on it.
We trade Porzingis for Jonathan Isaac. Get a guy who can load manage that can be really impactful for us, and then they get their stretch five.
No. Nah.
Okay.
Nah, he stays.
Okay. Well, I guess your job is secured as long as Donovan's the GM of this team. You're good, KP. Next thing we're going to do. I'm going to name an NBA team, and I want you guys to tell me who the most athletic player who has ever played for them in their franchise's history.
Okay.
Who's the greatest athlete? So, a little different from who's your best player. Sometimes there might be some overlap, but purely athleticism. And obviously, athleticism can mean different things. Some guys jump fast. Some guys run. I said jump fast. Some guys jump high. Some guys run fast. Some guys are agile. Whatever athleticism means to you, to this specific player, who is number one? The Los Angeles Lakers. Always got to start with them.
Are we talking about just like the version that played for that team?
Yes.
I immediately think of
Shaq.
course.
Keep in mind, they had Wilt. They had Shaq. They had Kobe Bryant when he was young, flying.
They also had Shannon Brown.
They did have 2019 LeBron. He hadn't really lost a step like that yet.
LeBron's out of those combos for me.
To be 7'1", 300 pounds and still move the way that Shaq did, I think just that combination of size and power, that's peak athleticism for the Lakers.
Yeah, I'm leaning towards. Ooh.
And he was agile too.
When he first got there,
he was moving.
That's fresh off of Magic. He hadn't put on like crazy weight. I'm going.
I guess it is Shaq.
Yeah, they had so many arguments there. You could go LeBron, you could go Kobe, you could go Wilt. I'm not mad at going Shaq. We've literally never seen that combination of power and footwork and agility.
Exactly.
Yeah. Shaq's the biggest one.
Yeah, Shaq's is like the most unique athlete, so you got to give it to him. Chicago Bulls. No, the easy answer is Michael Jordan. Young Derrick Rose was an athlete. They, Artis Gilmore, they had some people, but is it easily Michael Jordan?
I think Derrick Rose does give MJ a run for his money, but I'm going to lean towards MJ at the end of the day. A lot of the things that he was doing, I'm not going to say he was a trailblazer, but it broke a lot of minds.
He certainly was a trailblazer. You can say that. He was clearly a trailblazer.
Yeah.
And like Derrick Rose, the leaping ability is ridiculous. The speed, ridiculous. Truly gifted athlete, which is what we're talking about. Michael Jordan's better, faster, stronger, jumps higher at all those things.
Yeah, exactly.
We got to go, Mike. We got to go,
Mike.
Derrick Rose will win for a lot of franchises, not against young Michael Jordan. 1988, Michael Jordan is one of the most ridiculous athletes you've ever seen.
Exactly. He could beat him I think young Derrick Rose can beat Michael Jordan in a race, but outside of that, I'm going Jordan in probably everything.
Everything else, he kills him.
And the race would be close. It wouldn't be that. It wouldn't be a landslide. Jordan was fast. Jordan was not slow.
Okay, it's a basketball race.
Yeah, whatever that means.
With
the ball in their hands?
With the ball in their hands, D Rose wins.
Oh, yeah, with the ball.
Okay.
Yeah, for sure.
Okay,
Easy.
fair enough. Good thing Michael Jordan's the best off-ball slasher of his generation, though. That is also fast off-ball. Good thing he's legendary off-ball. Boston Celtics. This is a tough one because their greatest players of all time aren't the most athletic players.
Is it? Is it the anomaly?
Jason Tatum? No. They definitely have some role players that are like crazy athletes, probably.
Yeah, Gerald
Gerald Green?
No.
He probably jumps the highest. It's not among their stars, like greatest players of all time. It's probably Jason Tatum, but I don't know. Is Jason Tatum more athletic than Jaylen Brown?
I think Jaylen Brown's more athletic. But then I think about that dunk contest.
I'm trying to. The Celtics probably have some deep cut athletes. Who are we not?
Let's
thinking
give it to Tatum, man. He has to have some. He don't have no
I'm not
MVP.
giving
No,
it
but is he? But I don't even know if he's more athletic than Jaylen Brown.
He's not. I know he's not.
Okay, so we have Jaylen Brown versus. I mean, KG wasn't like moving like that, but also it was still
not.
like good KG in 08.
He was not moving like that.
Does Len Bias count?
No.
Come on.
He was a Celtic.
He never played a game.
No.
He would win.
Damn.
We're not. Also, what are we doing? It's Bill Russell. Like,
is that obvious?
Bill Russell at his size to be able to jump as high and move like as laterally as he did.
Yeah,
I feel like we should go Bill Russell here.
Yeah, for his time, it's hard to parse that because, like, for today's day, he wouldn't be a crazy athlete.
Yeah, but like if you didn't have him playing in freaking Converse, like if you give him some hyper dunks,
like, you know who it is? No, it might be
different.
too.
Who?
Prime Robert Williams. Time Lord was like 6'7" with like a 7'6" wingspan and had a 43-inch vertical swatting everything.
Those 20 games of that was
crazy
ridiculous.
leaper. That's one of the best. Like, I don't even know if he's undersized because his arms are so fucking long. That is a crazy big man athlete. You put him in the 1960s, he might be the guy leading to 10 titles.
He might be Bill Russell. Yeah, but I'm gonna go Bill Russell out of respect.
Okay.
Yeah.
Shout out Time Lord.
I will never disrespect Bill.
It's Time Lord. The Brooklyn Nets. Best athletes. They've had some athletic players. They had Vince Carter. They had Dr. J.
Those are the two.
Yeah.
See, this is tough. This is actually tough. But honestly, it's Vince Carter.
It has to be. One of the best in-game leapers. One of the best dunk contest leapers.
Don't say obvious now. Don't disrespect Dr. J like that.
No, I would never disrespect Dr. J.
You just did.
But there's just certain
I would
things.
never
Dr.
Dr. J enjoyer now.
It's my guy.
Yeah, exactly.
I love
Some
Dr. J.
times with what?
No, listen, Vince Carter is like the peak jumper. Nobody else in this team's history has like that high of a peak of any specific skill
Yeah.
as an athlete.
Yeah, we're going Vince Carter. If Vince Carter was like 15% better, maybe even 10% better as a basketball player, like everybody looks at Vince Carter as like, you could have been so much better because of how athletic.
Yeah.
He might be one of like the 10 best athletes, 5 best to ever play in the NBA.
That's not ridiculous. Next up, the Phoenix Suns. Now, Charles Barkley's a gifted athlete, but people aren't going to consider him that, I guess.
But at his size,
Kevin Johnson.
Amari?
Ooh.
I like Amari a lot. That's a name that
Kevin Johnson was a bouncy, fast point guard. I think he's in the conversation. I don't hate Amari. He's a bouncy power forward, but I feel like he's not quite as like agile. There has to be somebody else. But I don't. Jalen Green was on this team.
Maybe Marquise Chris was here too.
Oh, shit. Dragon Bender.
All right, that's.
I think we have to go Chuck.
Chuck?
I do. I think so.
That's more athletic than Amari? Man, look at those two motherfuckers side by side. You're going to tell me Charles Barkley's more athletic than Amari Stoudemire?
Overall athleticism?
He had the ball in his hands, was going coast to coast. Like,
It's definitely a unique athleticism in the same way that we're like, low-key, Jokic is an elite athlete. But I think we can go Amari. I think we can go Amari.
You said that. Who is we?
no, there's a
You know what I'm talking
conversation.
about.
There's a conversation.
Yeah. I think we can go Amari.
The
Amari's
nerds do be saying that.
Amari's
Okay.
fast, can jump, strong. The strength is a big thing. I think Amari Stoudemire, he was on the MVP ballot off athleticism.
All right, we'll do
He
that.
wasn't there
Let's
off
put
footwork.
Amari.
We'll go Amari.
Wasn't there off of jumpers. The Dallas Mavericks. Now this is fun because the two best players aren't crazy athletes.
They're not. I mean, listen, Tyson Chandler was jumping for them lobs.
Listen, man. Dennis Smith Jr. was drafted top 10 off athleticism.
Oh, he was.
He had the highest vertical at the combine at one point.
Doesn't he have some like weird shit going on with his body where he has like an extra ACL or something like that?
I have no fucking clue,
What?
but
He has
I'll believe
something
it.
going on with his body.
An
Where he has
extra ACL?
He has some extra ligament. I swear to God.
Keep
Which,
talking.
like, scientifically, he is just a different level of athlete or leaper, at least, bare minimum.
Yeah, when he like, especially when he was young as a rookie, that man could fly.
Yeah. Exactly.
Now it didn't like translate, but he was an athlete.
Yeah, it didn't. Yeah, it didn't at all. But in terms of that ability of just leaping from the ground, how high it was, and the force he would do it with too, he is up there.
You know what people sleep on?
Who?
Derrick Jones Jr.
Yeah, that is true.
Elite athlete.
That is true. That is true. In similar vein.
Y'all remember DeJuan Blair?
I do.
DeJuan Blair was out here hooping no ACLs.
That is true.
That's crazy.
Yeah.
That's wild.
No, you're right. You're right.
Who do we go with though?
We'll go with it. Has to be, I think, Dennis Smith Jr.
Okay.
Fair enough.
I like him at the pick.
Shout out to Dennis.
Bet. Indiana Pacers.
Young Paul George.
Low-key Obi Toppin.
Hell,
Not really.
I can't say hell
I'm
no
kidding.
to Obi, but
It's young Paul George.
Young Paul George is definitely in the conversation. Actually, I don't know who else is in the conversation. So maybe it is just young Paul George.
It's young Paul George.
I feel like
shout out to young Paul George and Obi.
I feel like we're looking too much at star players in these, and I feel like there's probably some role players we're forgetting about that were ridiculous athletes.
Garrett Walls again. He played for all these damn teams. What the fuck?
I understand, but also like it's kind of also easier to lean towards stars because they have more of an opportunity to showcase their athleticism.
And a lot of times they're stars because they're so athletic.
Yeah.
No, listen, young Paul George, when he had that vertical pre-leg snapping in half, it probably has to be
different.
Him. Yeah.
I forget his leg slapped in half, bro. That's so fucking crazy.
He was doing reverse 360s in game.
Yeah.
God. Okay. Paul George is. The New Orleans Pelicans. Anthony Davis is an amazing all-time great athlete. It's got to be Zion Williamson, I think.
It's not close.
It's
either.
not close.
It's not close. I think Zion might win for like 25 out of 30 teams.
Shout out to Gerald Henderson.
For once in your life, you're going to say Gerald.
Yeah. Fantastic.
Why do you say Gerald?
Same reason why he says Juan instead of one. Same reason. Same exact shit.
You know what?
Exactly.
Fair play. Fair play. Like,
Exactly.
you got it.
Gerald is so... I've never heard anything. Nobody else has ever said Gerald. But no, Zion, like... The question is never Zion's athleticism. It's everything else around that. If everything else was up to par with Zion Williamson, we'd be talking about him in like GOAT athlete conversations.
Oh, in terms of like his...
Pure athleticism.
Yeah.
I don't know how many people in NBA history have been that fast and that strong and that much jumping ability. It's like him and LeBron.
Sounds like we want to lean towards
It is
Zion,
Zion.
and
It is
I am
Zion.
with that.
There's no leaning. It's just clear cut Zion.
Yeah.
We're toppled over towards Zion. The Memphis Grizzlies.
See, they're also another team that I feel like for a lot of their stars, it's been under the rim, but also they have Ja Morant.
Yeah, it's just John Morant.
It's exactly as clear as
Did
we
Gerald
said
Green ever
Zion.
play for them?
Probably.
No, he did not. He actually did not.
Listen, man, it's clear as fuck. It's John Morant. This team does not have a long history as an expansion team. Nobody comes close to what young John Morant was doing as a jumper.
Young Ja Morant. It's been like 4 years.
He's like 24, 25.
But man, when he was 22, he was flying.
He was, but he don't jump like that no more.
There's no one who compares still. It don't matter.
Yeah.
He just dunked on Wemby. What do you mean he don't jump like that no more? He does.
He didn't do that.
The Orlando Magic.
It didn't count.
The footage exists.
This is young Shaq as well.
Yeah.
Damn.
This is young Shaq. Once again, to be that tall, to move that way, to
And he
be
didn't have that
that
weight on him
strong,
either.
that fast, all of it, it's Shaq.
The man was averaging like 29 points in year 2.
This man was breaking backboards.
Off of that athleticism.
This was minus all the weight.
His
as well.
post moves got a lot. He was a great post player later in his career. Those 29 in year 2, athleticism. He was just bigger and faster and stronger than everybody.
Just running down the floor, filling the lane.
Yep.
I'm catching it. I'm catching these lobs. I'm going to get it.
How does he move like that? That just doesn't make any sense.
I don't know. To be
I
fair-
see him and then someone like Rudy Gobert. I'm just like, bro, the physics don't fucking make sense.
What a nasty comparison.
I know. In terms of like, yo, you're that big, damn, bro, and you can't move your hips like him, crazy.
Yeah. Now shout out Penny Hardaway. Shout out Dwight Howard. They have a good argument for most teams. Most teams don't have Shaq.
I agree.
That young Dwight is crazy.
Yeah.
It really is different.
The Golden State Warriors
This would probably be Will Chamberlain.
has to be like it's fucking Wilt Chamberlain. Like it's if we didn't give Wilt the Lakers, we got to give him the Warriors.
Who else is on here?
Shout out to
that's
GP2. He is
Don't you
athletic.
Shout out to
He is.
GP2. Younger Andre Iguodala.
Oh,
when he first got
Baron
there.
Davis belongs in these conversations.
Oh, sure. Baron Davis could be on there. Crazy athletic. It's just Wilt. It's not even close.
Yeah.
Like
Yeah, it is.
it's not this seismic gulf between whoever's number 2.
They just got shooters out there.
The Atlanta Hawks.
This is Dominique
It's
Wilkins'
again
award,
seismic as fuck too.
and it's not. Well,
No John Collins respect.
Shout out to John Collins, but again, when I think about that dunk contest, I want to unalive myself. Give me Dominique
that's
Wilkins. So embarrassing.
So much disdain for a dunk contest. You'd rather die than think about it.
Yeah.
Wow.
Brought shame to the city of Atlanta.
Tough.
He did. Yeah, it's Dominique.
Yeah, it's Dominique.
Like hands down, it's not really close.
The Philadelphia 76ers.
Fuck,
Also,
bro.
Wilt.
Not close.
Yeah.
Now, does
Don't
Joel
say.
Embiid deserve a nod with like he has like the weight of Shaq with like the agility of a guard? Like, is that in the conversation? You don't fucking see that ever.
No, you don't. But it's still Wilt. Like he can be in the top 3 for the franchise, but I still think it's Wilt.
Yeah, and I feel like Joel Embiid has like an underrated athleticism, like the dancing bear. Like he's like offensive lineman athleticism.
He definitely does toe tap hella. Like he is light on his feet.
Mm-hmm. But again, the only reason why Wilt isn't the clear pick for every other team is because like we didn't pick him for the Lakers because Shaq was there.
Yeah.
But for basically every other team, Wilt's probably one of the best athletes to ever.
Yeah, Wilt's like a top 3 athlete of all time.
Yeah.
Damn, Wilt.
The New York Knicks. This is a fun one. Another team whose best players aren't crazy athletes.
It's everywhere. J.R. Smith belongs in these conversations.
No, he doesn't.
Yeah, he does.
Maybe Denver Nuggets was an elite athlete. He wasn't like that when he got to the Knicks.
He's had some crazy dunks.
He did have some wild.
You're
Like,
out
The
of the loop.
greatest athlete of all time? Are you in the Knicks history? Are you
He
crazy?
did have some. I'm
He's
just
had
saying
some
he
moments
had,
you're
he
out
had
of
some
the
wild
loop.
dunks. He had some wild dunks.
You're insane if you think J.R. Smith is in the conversation.
Also, if we're just talking athlete, like rookie, young Amon Shumpert. Young Amon Shumpert was very, very athletic.
Okay.
But also, Patrick Ewing can move. Like, young Patrick Ewing was a very, very dominant force. Obviously, he's not like Shaq or anything like that, but he's still like that. So,
Amari Stoudemire also played for this team.
yes,
But
then
this
his
old
knees blew out.
Amari
But I guess if we're
Stoudemire,
just
though.
going
Before
peak,
then,
if we're just going peak, I'm going Pat.
what makes Pat more athletic than Amari? Who's obviously the better leaper, probably faster.
I think Pat has a little bit more power.
And Amari's pretty goddamn powerful.
I don't know. I think I would take Pat.
Okay, give me Amari, but I understand.
Yeah.
The Washington Wizards.
Who they got?
Wes Unseld Jr., 6'9" power forward / center for the 1980s. Go. John Wall, one of the most modern athletic point guards.
Now you want to talk about special?
Yeah.
How much time we got?
Got about 44 minutes left in the show.
I might take 30 of them to explain to you 2016, 2017 John Wall.
Special?
Special.
Different, bro.
You had to be there.
I wasn't there. I'm kidding, I was there. Anybody else there besides John Wall?
Dude, their lack of talent
Yeah, they don't have
is
a lot
like
of crazy
so
athletes.
bad.
Again,
Like,
Gilbert
Kelly
Arenas is
Oubre,
athletic.
maybe, but
Oh,
I'm not
good
even going there
Lord.
as well.
Wait, who'd you
yeah,
say?
Kelly Oubre.
all right, bro.
Exactly. Hey, those are the conversations.
Gilbert
we're
Arenas
having
is really
about that.
fast, but not a jumper. Not crazy athlete anyway.
I think it's John Wall.
I'm leaning towards Darwin.
Yeah, one of the fastest point guards of all time, pure speed. He could jump, wasn't like Derrick Rose, but the speed plus enough burst, plus he has the long arms, the body, the frame. John Wall's a good pick.
He was putting it together, man. And then he slipped and fell in the shower.
Yeah.
What a hilarious
That's one
way
of
to
the
go out.
craziest tweets I've ever received in my life.
I know. What a ridiculous way to have your career fall apart.
This man was trying to moonwalk.
Next thing we're going to do, I'm going to name you an NBA player where we got to pick their most similar NBA comparison from every decade. We're going to go from the 20s through the 80s. So the last 5 decades, not every single one.
Okay.
So, we've done a lot of player comps from like past to new and stuff. Now we're going to go through every single one and like list 5.
Okay.
We'll start with the 70s or 80s and go forward. LeBron James. We'll start with him.
That's Magic Johnson.
Magic Johnson in the
Easy.
80s for sure.
Yeah.
We can go back to 70s for him. Julius Erving is the 70s.
That's true.
When
That's
LeBron came into the league as a prospect, we were like, oh shit, new people. Not we, I wasn't around. They were like, oh, this is just modern day Julius Erving.
true. Yeah.
And then they saw he's an elite passer and they said, oh, never mind, modern day Magic Johnson.
Yeah. But I think the fact that you have somebody at that size and being able to move the way that they do and kind of break the position a little bit.
Yeah.
That's where you get that Magic Johnson from.
Essentially another tall point guard.
Yeah. So you're talking about prototypes leading up to LeBron.
Yeah.
I think 1990s is probably Grant Hill.
I was thinking the same thing.
Yeah, another big ball handler.
Do it all type of forward. Yeah.
Okay, we're locked in.
Now 2000s.
I have no idea who to go.
Not
with
a lot of LeBrons in the 2000s.
I think it's hard to find a comparison in their era because a lot of these guys are going to be like game breaking type of athletes. For 2000s, I'm not putting anybody. I'm just putting LeBron because it's that.
You're not going to find a superstar that plays like him, but so we got to go towards lower tier players that are like stylistically body type kind of similar.
Lamar Odom.
Josh Smith, I guess, in terms of like that size.
This is too nasty. I can't do it.
Yeah, skip it.
No, you got to pick someone from the 2000s.
I can't. You just can't do it because
That's the game.
No, because you can't have somebody who is 6'8", 6'9", is as fast as he is, as strong as he is. Nobody has any type of combination where they're in like the 80th percentile of either, where LeBron is like 99th percentile in both.
Yeah.
I guess it's Josh Smith, but not this passing.
It's a nasty places, but okay.
Who else you want to go with? I don't know. I'm not hearing any better answers. We're not going to skip it.
I'm down with Josh Smith.
I'm skipping.
Let's do it. Whatever.
You're not skipping though.
I'm skipping.
You're not though. It's Josh Smith then.
I'm not gonna say another word.
2010s. To me, there's two answers.
One of them is probably Ben Simmons.
Ben Simmons or 2018 Blake Griffin.
I'm thinking 2018 Blake Griffin was a little bit after his athletic peak.
Well, I picked that year.
Mm-hmm.
That's why I picked that year, 2018. Like that's like the ball handling, passing year. Like
the combination of skills. Yeah, that's fine.
But I think if you're combining ball handling and athleticism, which I think are two, like obviously the two major things of LeBron's career, Ben Simmons would kind of have to be the pick.
He's the poster boy of that in my mind.
Yeah, just without the jumper, obviously.
Yeah, but that's more like young LeBron too, where young LeBron did have.
Oh, it wasn't quite that extreme.
No.
Yeah. Okay, Ben Simmons is fair. 2020s, everyone's gonna say Paolo Banchero is the easy one. Kind of think Zion's a closer one in terms of athleticism and the ways they move with the ball in a really gifted way. I think that upper tier athleticism and that bounce and that size is a little more similar than Paolo just dribbling like LeBron when he was old.
Just looking like him.
Yeah, Paolo doesn't really play like him at all. He's not the driver that LeBron is. They don't the jump shot orientedness of Paolo isn't like LeBron whatsoever.
I don't know.
Both their games are so wildly different than LeBron's.
Yeah, and I think Zion's is probably closer.
I don't know, because Zion, he's just so spammy when it comes to just like being in the paint and whatnot.
Yeah.
I mean, okay, so if we're talking about that, actually not. Giannis doesn't. Well, Giannis.
Jalen Johnson's right there. I'm just saying, man.
I'm sorry. Shut
2010
up.
5.
I'm sorry. Shut the
He's
fuck up.
looking at you right there,
Please
man.
be quiet.
Don't let that shoulder injury fool you, man.
Listen, Zion is about an inch and a half shorter, just as fast, jumps just as high, dribbles in the similar fashion going to the paint.
But he doesn't pass, doesn't rebound.
You're not going to find LeBron
like
James. You're not going to. Well, he doesn't rebound like him. But you're not going to find LeBron James. So I mean, that's probably the closest we can do.
I guess we can go with Zion. But
I don't know. His shot diet is just so like different, so wildly different.
Not that different. I mean, they're both young. LeBron was a slasher in a similar way. I mean, he obviously shot more than Zion does, but it's not like
his shot difference. His shot diet's more similar to someone like Paolo Banchero. So because Zion's like not inability, but his choice to not spread out the floor.
Okay.
I mean,
which one are you going with?
You act like I just said a curse word.
I don't think Paolo Banchero shot diet is anything like any version of LeBron James.
It's closer to LeBron compared to someone like Zion. That's irrefutable right there.
No, it's not.
Simply because he likes to shoot here and there. Or he likes to shoot. Maybe a little bit too much, but he likes to shoot.
Young LeBron was very halfback dive.
There's, again, Giannis is Mr. Halfback Dive.
You should have won with Giannis 2020s?
Fuck it, let's go.
I think so. Just
Giannis
because
is 7 feet. Giannis is 7 feet tall.
I know, but he has more playmaking chops than Zion and
I don't know about that. Zion's passing. I mean, we always say point Zion.
It is very underrated.
I don't know. Giannis has higher usage and better scoring, so like passes is like more impactful. I guess he's a better player,
maybe.
But I don't know if Zion. I don't know if he's a better passer than Zion is. That's probably pretty close.
I think for the sake of
that's an argument. Giannis also young LeBron. Yes, he was running a halfback dive. He did take a couple jumpers. Giannis has been trying to add that into his game a little bit. I think the evolution of just having somebody who is the biggest, strongest, and fastest player on the floor and giving them the ball and letting them run the offense, that's where I think Giannis comes in.
Okay. So you're going to go Giannis?
I guess Giannis it is.
All right, there we go. Giannis is 2020's LeBron. Now, next, we'll do one more of those. Kobe Bryant.
Okay.
So this is not that hard. So, 1980s, obviously, Michael Jordan.
Yes.
That one's clear as day. He is the birth of Kobe Bryant as a player, starts with Michael Jordan.
No words need to be said.
Now, 1990s, if we're not going to use Jordan twice.
Yeah.
Well, do you want to use Jordan for 90s or 80s? Because then we got to think of somebody else.
I mean
90s.
I think more 90s because as like the Kobe that everybody like loved, like 24 Kobe, that's 1990s. 1980s is 2000s Kobe, and then 1990s is
Okay, so who do you want to go for 1980s? Who was Kobe before Jordan was Kobe?
I mean, you got to find somebody. See,
That's very tough because there wasn't a lot of
That is
guys
hard.
like that before Jordan.
Yeah.
yeah, you're not finding.
That's why I did
So-
Jordan in the 80s.
So I'll say, if we're just talking about wing scorers, you would think about somebody like a George Gervin.
Yeah, he didn't jump shoot. He wasn't quite as much of a jump shooter, but that archetype wasn't quite as around. So I'm okay going George Gervin, even though he's more of a slasher.
Okay.
Or like Alex English, I guess. But it's a similar thing. All these guys, all these wings were slashers back then.
Yeah. I feel more okay with George Gervin.
Okay. George Gervin 80s, Jordan 90s.
Nice.
2000s,
That's T-Mac.
I wrote down T-Mac / low-key Young Ray Allen. Quite similar as a slasher, obviously more of a three-point shooter, but
Yeah, I
in
like
terms
that.
of slashing and being able to shoot off the dribble, Young Ray Allen's kind of similar.
Okay, so I don't hate that. I will go T-Mac just because of shot diet.
Yeah.
And because not only like playing in the mid range, but taking tough shots in the mid range.
Yeah.
And they like athletically, T-Mac was a better athlete than Kobe.
They're bigger.
Yeah. So but they still could put pressure on the rim. They can still jump very, very high, have some high flying dunks. Those two were also like 1 and 2 in terms of scoring in the 2000s. So
Vince Carter.
No, I'm
No,
not leaning towards Vince.
Okay. We'll go Tracy McGrady 2000s. 2010s. To me, this is DeMar DeRozan or Jimmy Butler. Where you want to go?
DeMar DeRozan or Jimmy Butler? You think Kyrie Irving doesn't have a place in these conversations?
Nah, not really. I mean, he's so much smaller, so much more agile. I think the athleticism is a big part of Kobe, and the size.
and his handle makes him play different. Like, yes, he loves Kobe and he'll take like some stuff from him, but his play style is just so
Or
different.
Devin Booker.
For 2010s,
For 2010s?
I have Booker for 2010s.
Okay.
Okay. Yeah, obviously everyone says DeMar plays like him, but Booker's a more complete player, has a little more of the small skills that are like Kobe, some of the good passing chops, some of the like IQ stuff. I think Booker really embodies. And obviously Jimmy Butler is a decent comparison, but different, obviously.
Yeah.
Jimmy Butler's so unique. I'm picking Devin Booker. 2020s.
That's easy
Easy
for
as
me.
fuck.
It's Shea.
Obviously Shea.
Yeah.
Shea's probably going to go down as the closest to Kobe besides Michael Jordan, I guess.
Yeah, because both, and specifically like late stage Kobe, because
Yeah.
Shea's good athlete, fine, but he's not some crazy athlete.
Not the jumper.
He's
that's
never
what I'm
been
saying.
that, yeah.
He really is thriving off of angles, off of pump fakes, off of counters and all this stuff. And the stuff that you saw from Kobe, like 2008, 2009, where he wasn't jumping over everybody, but he was very tactical. Shea's just as tactical as Kobe is. And his footwork is insane.
Shea's developed into one of the highest IQ mid-range scorers, and how he can get to different baskets, get to the rim using that footwork you mentioned. Like his like depth of angles and understanding of how to get different spots, next level.
Yeah. So it's Shea.
Yeah, it's Shea. It's not close either. It's not close either. It's Shea.
Yeah, he is modern Kobe. Like, and obviously he looks different because the modern NBA's play differently, but he is so close to what I think Kobe would look like today.
Yeah, and like I feel like we've struggled for a long time before Shea been going crazy over the last 2 years. We've been struggling when it comes to finding a good comparison for him. But I think he, out of every player in NBA history outside of fucking MJ, of course, he compares to Kobe the most. And a lot of people just hate to say it and admit it.
Yeah, you know how people feel about Shea, but fuck him. And with that being said, that's the end of this episode. If people are still here, what should they comment?
What should they comment?
Turkey, here I come.
Shout out Turkey. Shout out you guys. We'll see y'all next week.